Kiss you.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah!
You want to run or you want to duck down? You want to duck, just go over and get onto the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets.
Oh, I love it when I have technical issues, and not issues. Issues is one thing, but when you're dumb, you know, when you do something stupid that you've done before and you forget till you're all the way in it. And then you're like, oh yeah. That's what I did. Well, that's me. Hello, everybody. This is GreenBean. I am not on mute now. Hopefully I played you that whole clip in silence. So you got to see me dancing around. I was at a place called Russell's Travel Center in the middle of East Van Gweek, and I wanted to talk to you guys. We'll get into all that stuff tonight, but I am happy to be here. I am being told by my speed test that I just might have the fastest, bestest internet that I've ever had while having this relationship with you guys. 200 megabytes a second download and 77 upload. Never have I had such a wonderful scenario. So I hope that we can use that and use it as a foundation for fantastic conversation of love, happiness, and New York Jets football, man. Welcome to the Thursday thick of it. I am in good spirits, high spirits. I can't wait to get into this with you guys. But before I do, let's bring them on, huh? Shall we? Let's go ahead and say hello to the Thursday Meisterbrow. Frankie from Flatbush. What's a Meisterbrow?
I don't know. Where else would you rather be on a Thursday other than hanging out with GreenBean and Frankie so we can gripe intelligently? And it's an exciting Thursday because big trades are happening, GreenBean. Big trades. Any
with the Jets? What do we got?
Well, not so much with the Jets, but just so happens that the Green Bay Packers now are in need of a wide receiver. And it just so happens that our offensive coordinator is the brother of their head coach, Mikey LaFleur, Matty LaFleur. Maybe the LaFleurs can call each other and say, hey, listen, we got a guy here. His name's Denzel Mims. He doesn't work for our system. But he's really good. Don't get me wrong. He's really, really good, Matty.
We love him.
He if you put this guy with Aaron Rodgers, and he's a Pro Bowler for sure. But we can't figure out how to use him. But you guys, the Packers, you can figure it out. And all it's going to cost you is a little second round pickety pick. That's all it takes.
Just a little tiny second round pick. You just got all these extra picks in the Davante Adams trade. You know, he could even use that big brother thing. Like, look, I'm your little brother. I got a lot to learn. I couldn't figure out Denzel Mims, but with you.
Yeah,
you
can unlock this guy.
You can unlock
with your genius and your big brains and your eyebrows and your 12-year-old face. You can figure it out, Matty LaFleur.
That's right. Did we ever tell you that he's 6'3", runs a 4.38? Did we tell you that?
Yeah,
Did we tell you that, big brother?
Hands like a bear trap. This guy, look at his college tape. Look at him at Baylor. He's running. He's jumping. He's touchdown all over the place. This guy, we just don't know what we're doing over here, Matty. We can't figure it out, but you can unlock it, Matty.
You, right. Yeah. I need guys that are perfect for the system. You, on the other hand, you can make anybody great. And this guy's just waiting to be unlocked. Wouldn't that be something? Because look, man, now Davante Adams is Davante Adams, right? Like, we all know who he is. We know how good he is. But them getting rid of him for a first, and I don't think the second pick, at least I didn't see what the other pick, it just said 2 picks, 1 is a first. Getting rid of him, no matter how you slice it, even if he wasn't Davante Adams, creates a vacuum. Now, you just gave Aaron Rodgers all this money, $200 million or whatever it was. You got to get him a receiver, man. They can't, continue this trend of using their premium picks in such a way that it doesn't help Aaron Rodgers. So, hey, man, use your first round picks however you want. Just give us a little tiny second, maybe even a third, Frankie. I'd be happy with a third because you guys know I'm a big Mims supporter. I love him to death. I really do. And I think he's got a whole bunch still left to offer. But if this coaching staff doesn't like him, they don't want to use him, he's not perfect, they don't like the way he talks, whatever it is about him, if you can get a second or a third for him, you take it, in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll get a guy who in here in the draft who they like better, and maybe it will work out for both parties. Maybe we draft Jahan Dotson, or we draft Olave, or I don't know, whoever falls into the second round, and maybe that guy fits our system better. I don't know. Maybe Treylon Burks falls down. Probably
maybe
not, but you never know. Guys fall every year. It happens.
Every single year. People think that if you don't grab your wide receiver in the first, he's a bum. Dude, yeah. Every single year, great receivers fall second, third, and beyond, truthfully. So Salmon Jets is checking in. He says, wait, what? What the hell's going on? So Salmon Jets, if you don't know what's going on, what the hell is Frankie talking about over here? Davante Adams was very, very recently traded to the Las Vegas Raiders to be reunited with his college quarterback, Derek Carr. So finally, the Raiders do something and really invest in Derek Carr, who's been a 4,000-yard quarterback and then some for the majority of his career. He gets a lot of flack, that guy, but he has been consistent with the myriad weapon changes and the bad offensive lines. He's still been one of the better quarterbacks in the league. And now you give him Davante Adams. So they got a first in 2022. I did not see what the second pick was, but I do know that there is it's another first. It's 2 firsts.
No, it's a second. It's their first and second.
Oh, so it's their first and second in 2022. Wow. So yeah, you just got an extra second, man. What's burning one of those on a 6'3", 4.38 speed wide receiver, man? So, but now the other side to this, Frankie, before we continue here, is that I heard that Davante Adams got signed with the Raiders for $28.3 million a year. What do you think of that? Is that real?
Yes, it seems like. I mean, what's his name? Justin from Over the Cap, or forget what his name is.
No, it's Jason. Yeah,
Jason. He's saying it's likely. You got to see the details of these contracts. That's something we're probably going to talk about tonight. Is the details of these contracts are where the devil is, but probably Davante may be getting something like 40 something this year and just front load it front load that sucker. And then, maybe 20, 25, like that going forward. You got to see, but the annual rate is about 28 million. So he's the highest paid wide receiver in football. He's the best. So he should be the highest paid. The other highest paid was Hopkins. Cardinals, and he's very good too. But obviously Davante Adams is better than him. So he's making more money on an average basis. But you got to see how the contract is structured. The over the cap, Jason is saying, it's probably structured heavily front loaded, which is unusual, but I guess in the cap situation that the Raiders are in, that makes sense for them.
Yeah. Well, GMF checks in. He says Davante Adams' new contract is 5 years, 142.25. And like Frankie said, we have to see exactly how that breaks down so we can really have opinions on it. But it doesn't matter. No matter how you slice it, Davante Adams, who said he wasn't going to play on a franchise tag, who everybody thought was a package deal with Rodgers, wherever Rodgers goes, Davante Adams going to go. Didn't happen. They traded him to the Las Vegas Raiders for 2 picks, a first and a second in 2022. And then the Raiders on their end made him the highest paid receiver in the league. And that's astronomical. I still don't believe that a wide receiver impacts the game $28.3 million. I get it. I'm with you. These numbers are crazy to me. But, hey, look, if the Jaguars can give Christian Kirk 21, then the Raiders can give Davante Adams 28, I guess. What do you think of that, Frankie? Are you impressed with what the Jaguars have done so far in free agency?
Well, they signed a lot of guys. That's for sure.
They did for a lot of money.
For a lot of money. And they're, so they're sort of doing the McCagnon, deal. And that could work out. They have a whole new coaching staff. So to tell me you're getting all these new guys and a new coaching staff and a second-year quarterback who has to start all over, it doesn't seem to bode well, but we'll see. Usually those kind of things don't work out. You usually want to spend the money like that. Really, you want to be wise with your spending usually, but they're kind of doing what we're doing. They're kind of bulking up their roster. Their roster was very talent depleted, and now they're just getting a bunch of guys. And yeah, they're overpaying. That Christian Kirk contract was, too much. But so what? They're saying we need a guy, and we need Foley over here, and we need Scherf over there, and we need this one and that. We need all these people to get a team going, and we'll see if it works out. I think it's interesting that Doug Peterson showed up, and all of a sudden the owner said, "Oh, we're not going to get an EVP now. We were going to get one. Now we're not getting one. We're not going to redo the front office around Balky. We were going to do that, but now we're not." So Doug Peterson, it seems like, has a lot of power down there. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, we'll have to see the results of it. But I think a lot of this is happening because of the direction that Doug Peterson really is sort of steering the ship there, influencing Trent Baalke.
Yeah, well, that could very well be the case. Look, he comes in with a very recent Super Bowl win. So, the whole Doug Peterson and Philly thing was very weird. It was a quick fall from grace, and a lot of people attributed that to his staff leaving. So they looked at, like Frank Reich being at the pin, at the top of that list. But they looked at it like Doug Peterson was really not the brains behind the operation. It was the staff. And once they left, but in truth, I think that's probably inaccurate. A lot changes when, you win a Super Bowl and guys leave and all this kind of stuff. Sometimes you got to give these guys a little bit. I think Doug Peterson is a good coach. Much better than what is going to happen, what happened down there in, with the Urban Meyer situation. I don't know how much worse you can get than the Urban Meyer situation down there. That was a shit show from the onset. But hey, the Jaguars, to me, Frankie, look a lot like that panic. Like you said, they need players, they need talent. So they're going out there and getting it. Chances are players are going to need a little bit more to go to Jacksonville than maybe to the Ravens or Steelers or whatever. So that's all well and good, but it looks to me very reminiscent of how the Jets used to operate as recently as Mike McCagnon's tenure. Mike McCagnon would go out there. Think about his last offseason, just as one example. He'd go out there and he'd get names. He would overpay names. And in the draft, he was a complete failure. And then most of the guys that he brought in had already achieved success. and he was kind of paying them for what they had already done as opposed to what they were going to do. But that panic, like overpaying, the Christian Kirk thing is just it's the one that sticks out the most to me. I looked at him as maybe a $12 million receiver, and he gets 21. And it's reminiscent of what we used to look like. We got the names, we got the free agents in here, but we had to go about it that way. Do you think I'm on to something here? Do you think that there's a significant shift from the way the Jaguars are operating and maybe the Jets these days?
Well, I think it is different. I mean, it's hard to tell with the Jaguars because everything's new. The whole coaching staff. So we don't know what Peterson's going to do with his staff. We don't know how they're going to look. How's Trevor Lawrence going to be? There's just too much unknown. I mean, when those things happened with the Jets, I think a lot of people were optimistic in the offseason before they started playing, and they said, well, this might work. We got to see what happened. Then when they get on the field, then it gets revealed. Oh, this is not exactly what it was all.
Yeah, this isn't this isn't what we thought. Yeah.
And on the other hand, this year we kind of know that Robert Saleh has a track record. And the LaFleur's and the West Coast offense, not necessarily LaFleur himself, but the West Coast offense has a track record that you can rely on. And you can say, this is the type of defense Saleh wants to run. So getting a guy like DJ Reed is a perfect fit for that because we already know what he wants to run, how he wants to run it, and what type of players you need for that to fit in there. So paying a guy like that makes a lot of sense. Whereas paying somebody else who isn't as good of a scheme fit, even though they might be, higher, more regarded, better regarded, maybe wouldn't be the way to go. So you got to be smart about it. And it seems like we're doing it smartly. With Jacksonville, you just don't know. We don't know what they're going to do exactly. And maybe spending all this money is the right way to go for them. They did have a lot of cap room. You also have to look at how it's going to play out over the years, because it could be fine for this year. And then you start coming up against the cap and you got to let this guy go. Look what's happening to the Patriots. Look, the perfect example is the Patriots. They spent all that money last offseason. Remember that? They were signing everybody. We said, where's they getting all this money from? What's happening here? They're signing everybody. They're signing 62 tight ends. They're signing all the defensive people. What is going on? And everybody was very upset. And then they were like, ha, the Patriots, Belichick's a genius. He figured it all out. And they had a season and they won 10 games. Okay, congratulations. And then now this year they got to pay the piper. They're getting rid of Shaq Mason. They're getting rid of Kyle Van Noy. They're getting rid of this with J.C. Jackson. They didn't get back. And now the Patriot fans are going, well, don't worry. It's all about the draft. Like what? It's never been all about the draft for the Patriots.
That's right.
What are you talking about?
Never. And they have less picks this year than they're used to having. Because of all the free agents that they signed last year. Bill Belichick has been very, very good at managing the compensation pick formula. Masterful. Every year he gets 3 or 4 additional picks. A lot of the time, even as good as thirds. There was one year, it might have been 2, but I think it was even 3 additional third-round picks. Now, you get those because you lose, guys, but when you have Tom Brady in there keeping it all on a foundation, they had a floor. They weren't going below the Tom Brady floor. So now what we see is that he went and signed all these free agents, didn't get his extra picks, traded a pick for somebody. Now he's got 5 or 6, I think it's 6 picks in the draft, and it looks completely different because their big spending spree didn't exactly produce the results that he wanted. And this is the thing. When you have great players, there's an illusion created around, especially a great player like Tom Brady, who also takes less than everybody else at his position. So I like what you're seeing with the Patriots, and the fans, they don't know how they're going to deal with it. Mac Jones is fine, but he's never going to be Tom Brady. It's never going to be that. They're on equal footing right now. As great as Belichick is as a coach, I don't want to start saying that he's not. He is. But it's going to be different up there, and that's why it's nice to see the Jets just kind of settling into this very, very even-keeled, slow and steady approach. Now, this has been free agency week, Frankie. I know you've been talking about it. I've been talking about it. I've been watching other people talk about it. I've been on Twitter. I've been on Jetnation. I've been on Instagram. I've been on YouTube. Everybody's talking about it. But what has not happened yet is that you and I have not talked about it with the 280 people that are in the chat right now. So I want to say hello to all you guys. I usually start with that, but I've got so frazzled because of my my mute situation that I didn't know what was happening. So hello, guys. R&R is here. Lawrence Wapples is here. Twisted Mind is here. But I want to bring out one. Chris Bradigan checked in, and Chris is with us all the time. He's a regular. And he says, I'm a little bit bummed out, too. Now, I imagine that means tonight. And I got to make sure that Chris is all right. Did something happen in the middle of the word, Chris? Are you okay? That's number one. And Chris, you know, I'm a therapist for real. And, and I'm a mentor, all these life coach, all those things. If you have an issue, buddy, you talk to me. Okay. You talk to me. I'm here for you. And we'll leave that where it is, Chris. You just let me know. And William Malpica's here. Justin Jets, JC, Stud City is back. We got Cyber Systema. Yeah. Cyber Systema. Maybe that's how you say it. Flatbush Dre is here. MC's back. What's up, MC? Owen is here. Jerome Strax. Yeah, Eric Craig. So many of you guys. Salty Nuts is here. Chris Donardo went back into the studio. He took a little break to say hello. Hello, Chris, if you're still here. Eminon's here. Patrick Zanelli. And we are happy that you guys are here. So what I'm going to do, Frankie, this is going to be our entry point into our discussion about free agency. And what I'd like to do is use this. I'm going to use this clip and we'll talk about that. But from there, I want to talk about overview first, and then we'll go into some details. So here you go, guys. Here's what I was trying to show you in the beginning. That didn't work because I had my headphones on, and I already know that. When I do that, you guys can't hear me. So let's hope that you can hear me now. It's like a 25-second clip. So check it out, and we'll talk about it, Frankie. I want your thoughts on this first. Let me see. Here we go. Can you hear it?
What's up, Jets fans? This is GreenBean. Just taking
it's a little low.
Road because I just got pretty interesting information. I want to pass it on to you. Make of it what you will. But I was just told that everything we're hearing about Marcus Williams to the Jets is absolute bullshit. That's what I'm being told. The Jets never even made an offer. And this whole thing that Marcus Williams said that it was gonna cost more to play for New York and blah. It's all baloney.
Baloney.
Every last word of it. That's what I'm being told. Very solid source. Let me know what you think in the comments. Have a great day, everybody.
So there it is, Frankie. So obviously we didn't get Marcus Williams, but there was a lot of talk about us being locked in negotiations. We hit an impasse in the Marcus Williams negotiations. And then after he went to the Ravens, we heard that he was telling the Jets he needed more. And we were not on equal footing. So he maybe wanted 15.5 instead of 14 to play for New York. And everybody had feelings about it and everything. But I was told by a very reliable source. Now, it's not 100%. Nothing ever is. But I don't get many tidbits, but when I do, they happen to be pretty good. That the Jets never even made him an offer. Whitehead was their target, and they got him. So what do you think about that, Frankie?
Well, I have two thoughts. One, is it a surprise that the Joe Douglas ship doesn't leak? Has there been any leaks that have been accurate to the main, to the main reporters, to the main people? No. Ever since he's been here, no, they've gotten everything wrong. Everything. You've documented this more than anyone, GreenBean, on your channel and elsewhere, right, that they have gotten everything wrong since they've been here. All the speculation, all the rumors, everything has been wrong. So I don't think this is just a continuation of that. Nobody knew anything. The other thing it made me think is, well, I had it right. For months I've been talking, it's Jordan Whitehead, it's Jordan Whitehead, it's Jordan Whitehead.
Excellent.
And it turned out it was Jordan Whitehead. Now I thought he was a good fit at a good cost. I like Marcus Williams. Don't get me wrong. I think he's great. And if we got him, I'd be happy. But I just thought he was going to be out of our ballpark in terms of the cost it would bring compared to what it would cost to bring in a guy like Jordan Whitehead, who maybe is almost as good, but you can get him at a fraction of the cost. For example, we're paying Jordan Whitehead this year $4.2 million to play for us. 4.2. So, that's a value. That's a big value. Now, Whitehead's going to play in the box mostly, though he's versatile and can do both. But he's gonna be in the box a lot. He's going to be making tackles. He's going to be our, for lack of a better word, a strong safety. But he can do both. He can be multiple. And I think in today's game, what you really want is the combo that the Bills have: Poyer and Hyde. Those guys, they're interchangeable. They can do different things. They can cover. They can tackle. They can play center field. They can come down the box and help. They can blitz.
Right.
They can do what, and each one of them can do that. So you never know who's doing what. It's easy to disguise. And I think that's the way the game's going. So Whitehead helps with that. Marcus Williams would have helped with that too. Marcus Williams is a great player. Yeah,
of course. But it's just an interesting thing. The storylines that we hear, now, I'm being told all this stuff, as you do, Frankie, we have just hundreds of conversations all week about these things. And I've had quite a few people reach out to me with very strong feelings on the fact that Joe Douglas needs to know that we are the Jets and we have not reached that level playing field with a team like the Ravens. And if we want a guy like Marcus Williams, we should be prepared to pay that extra $1 million. And Joe Douglas, as we know, we don't know shit, but we can, 2 plus 2 looks like it equals Joe Douglas. Don't play that shit. You're going to come and we're going to do this. If you want extra because I'm me and he's him, then get the hell out of my house, kind of a thing. That's what he seems like to me.
Here's the interesting thing about that, GreenBean. Joe Douglas, pretty much we see Joe Douglas likes to pay market value, and he'll structure the contract in a way where you get your money, fair market value, no problem, but he's going to structure it in such a way to keep the cap number low. And that's what that's exactly what he should do. On top of that, the other advantage we now have that we didn't have recently, we have a coaching staff that when they call you up and they say, DJ, we want you here. They say, Jordan, we want you here. And it's Coach Saleh on the other line, on the line with you. They get excited because they know they're going to be coached well. They're going to be coached hard. They're going to be coached well, and they're going to bring out the best in you. And that's what they want. So if you're going to go a place where it's a fair market value, okay, they're not going to come for a discount, but if it's fair market value and everything's pretty much the same, and you can be coached by our good coaches now, if you can be coached by Coach Tony Oden, if you can be coached by Ron Middleton, if you can be coached by, Ulbrich and LaFleur and Saleh and everybody, all the good coaches we have, well, let's go there then.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Was it DJ Reed or Jordan Whitehead? One of them said that it was Robert Saleh that's the reason that they came. Now, we all know the money's a part of it, but like Frankie said, there are separate, when the money's equal, there has to be things to separate one from the other. And we already know we're playing a little bit from behind. We have the tax, baloney. We have the very, very aggressive and sinister Jets, New York media. We have intense Jets fans that the minute you have a bad week, we want to cut you. That's who we are. And everybody knows that when you come here, we're just a little bit more intense than maybe they are down there in Tempe, Arizona with the Cardinals fans. They're a little bit more patient. Green Bay, they're like, they'll get it. No, we're not like that. So they know that. But when you have a coaching staff, look, Robert Saleh is a very well-respected coach out there in the NFL. Like him or not, he is. Now, if he has 3 or 4 terrible years and sucks, that might change. But up to this point, he's a very well-respected coach. And that, I think, we've heard that a few times now, that players said, Robert Saleh was the differentiator. So that's an interesting one. And the Marcus Williams thing, I think it's funny. Now, maybe my source is wrong. Maybe the Jets were begging him to come here. But it sounded out of character a little bit. And it was interesting when I got that. I wanted to share that with you. Now, Fly Guy checks in with a super chat. Thanks for the super chat, Fly Guy. And he says, I totally believe your source. They probably didn't even look that way. They were trying to use us for leverage. Oh, what an interesting thing to say, Frankie. You know how many times the Jets have been used for leverage out there in the past, right? Do you think that's kind of dead in the water? Do you think that's a thing of the past as far as actually being used for leverage these days?
Well, here's the way to think about it. It's more of a relationship between the agents and the reporters. So the way I think about it is the agents are always trying to use the reporters for their leverage. One way or another. And that's something we always have to keep in mind. Why do all of the reporters have the exact same tweet when they multiple tweet? It'll almost be word for word. And I confirmed this with a reporter sneakily. I went into a reporter thread. They were talking about some transaction, and the reporter was correcting somebody who said, this is what happened. And the reporter said, no. The agent tweeted all the pool guys, this, and this. And I said, and I jumped in and I said, oh, this confirms what I suspected about these kinds of communications. It seems like the agents will do a group text to all the relevant parties. And he said, yeah, that is how it works. So I said, thank you very much for that confirmation of my suspicion.
Yeah, that's good.
That this is how this is how it works. The agents put out this information to multiple reporters at the same time using group text message. And the condition is you can use this, but you have to use it verbatim, exactly as I word it, because it's very, very important.
That's right.
That the first
it's purposeful.
It's purposeful. The exact wording, because the first thing you hear, the agents know the first thing you hear is what you're going to remember. And you can tell because people will use the exact same language when they're talking.
That's
about
right.
It sticks in their brain. It's the first.
What's
impression.
a good example? What's the good example of that in our world, Frankie? You know the one? You know the one, right?
Which one?
Well, I know, right? I didn't give you much to chew on there. But look, how many times have we heard from other Jets fans or just around that the Jets offered Marcus May 80%?
Yeah.
Of the right, that was his agents.
That's
right?
what Burkhardt wanted us to know.
That's what Burkhardt wanted us to think, and we have said it 1,000 times since then. Why did Joe Douglas only offer him 80%? We don't know what. That's just like Frankie said, and he articulated it beautifully. The agents give this stuff to the press, and they want it put out exactly how they said it because they're trying to elicit certain feelings and thoughts. And what happens? Then the fan base turns, and a lot of general managers cave to that pressure. We have seen Joe Douglas could literally give a shit.
Right. And that's the point. So the agents are trying to influence the fan base, and then the fan base gets all riled up. And then the business office, like Jaime and our team, comes in and says, Joe Douglas, what are you doing? Joe Douglas, I need this. The fans are going crazy, Joe. We need to do XYZ. And Joe Douglas is like, don't worry, Jaime. Don't worry. We're going to sign Connor McDermott.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Jaime. We got Will Parks on the line.
That's right. Don't you worry.
Don't you worry. So Joe Douglas just does not care about any of that. And that's a very good thing. He does what he thinks is right, and it doesn't matter.
Right. And I think it's about time. And I'm seeing a lot more Jets fans kind of cooling off because, look, it can be tough. You know, we're losing. We got a guy who's just jettisoning all these guys that we thought at one point in time were going to be pillars. We're going to be core players. And he's like, nope, goodbye. Nope, get rid of them. Get out of here. And we haven't won during that process. But you can start to see now, I think this is the first free agent period that you're starting to see. Hey, guys, it took me 2 years to clear off the Mike McCagnon dead cap bullshit. All right. I had to get rid of these guys. I had to get rid of the money. I have the money. I spent 2 years getting rid of all these players, Darnold, Jamal, Herndon, and now I have the picks. Guys, I have my coaching staff. I had to get rid of Gase. I had to become the damn general manager without a equal partner in the coaching staff. So this is the year. He had his money. He has his staff. He has his quarterback. He has his draft picks. And I think finally we're seeing now it's the build. Now it's the real, we're going to make some strides here. So Mr. D checks in. He says, I looked up Laken Tomlinson. I think he's talking about Laken Tomlinson. Shows you where I'm old. I looked up Laken Tomlinson on YouTube. The second video caption read, "The Art of Not Blocking." I got to say, I haven't really found a lot of good tape on him. Oh, that's interesting, Mr. D. I found tons of good stuff. There's some really good breakdowns on his play as well on YouTube. You should be able to find it. Now, if I was in that situation like Mr. D, I'd be concerned. But let me just remind you that a couple of things that are really key with him is that he hasn't missed but one game in 5 years. He's been the starter on Super Bowl teams and NFC championship teams, and he's been to the Pro Bowl during those years. So, the guy's legit. Now, the only concern I have with him is that we have a theme going on here that we bring in young guys. Joe Douglas he's bringing in youth. Laken Tomlinson cannot really be considered as a part of the youth movement. Not old, but that's really the one concern, is that he's probably just about to come over the hill, more than likely, and start to decline in a year or two. But I think that's all they want him for. They want him for that 2-year period, and give us some time to bring in guys around him, underneath him, behind him, and we'll be fine. Have you have any concerns about Laken Tomlinson, Frankie?
I have zero concerns. He's a Pro Bowl guard, and I've been talking about Laken Tomlinson now since December. People who subscribe to my channel know I have been a big proponent of Laken Tomlinson for about 4 months now. So I was thrilled when it actually happened, and we got him for the exact price I was proposing, about $9 million guaranteed. You got to look at the guaranteed money. But yeah, no, I don't have any problems. I mean, think about it. We have an athletic guard. His name is Elijah Vera Tucker. He's going to be pulling. What does that mean about Laken Tomlinson? He's going to have backside responsibility. He just has to pancake dudes coming the other way. That's all. And the guy running out there is going to be AVT most of the time. And AVT is the athletic one. And he's going to be serving pancakes. So I hope, Jet fans, I hope you're hungry for breakfast.
Ooh, I'm hungry for breakfast.
Because we serving pancakes all day long.
Yeah.
All day long we're serving pancakes.
Dude, it's been so long, Frankie. I could use a good pancake breakfast on a Sunday. This is right? Yeah, I like that. That's the best way I've heard it put. I want to let everybody know there is a downright movement going on in the chat right now to hit that like button. There's guys are all over the place saying hit the like button. GMF says, come on, man, you guys are in here listening, hit that like button. We have just under 350 people in here. It would be really great to get us over 250 likes. If you do it, I will take off one article of clothing at some point during this show. So let's get to another super chat. Sneakers to Boots, what's up, buddy? Thank you. He says, JD straight robbing people each year in trades. If he hits in the draft like 2021, we're going to be special. Uzomah loved the culture and was all smiles. So,
great comment.
Right, really is. Now, the straight robbing people, here's the thing. I got a few comments in the last couple of days, like sincere. People are worried that we're not going to be able to trade with anybody soon. That Joe Douglas, as soon as he calls him, like, hang up. I don't know how he's going to do it. We're going to think we won the trade and we're going to lose. Just hang up on that wizard, whatever he is. I don't want him on my phone. So maybe that does happen in the future. But I got to say, guys, all we have is today. And up to this point, he has not lost a trade. He has not lost a trade. Now, it's not to say that other people didn't do well. Like the Steelers got Avery Williamson. He helped them in that year. It's all well and good. Steve McClendon did a great job down there in Tampa. So it's not like, the other team doesn't, get some benefit as well. But JD is an absolute mastermind with trading. And I want to talk about this a little bit later, but we'll remember Sneakers to Boots bringing that up. I want to talk about Blake Cashman, but in its own deal. Now, the other part of that, he says, Uzomah loved the culture and was all smiles, Frankie. What do you think about Uzomah? As we brought him in to be a vet tight end, comes from the Super Bowl Bengals. What do you think overall with him coming here and his response coming and signing?
Well, who doesn't love Coach Middleton? I mean, one of the great things about the Senior Bowl, we got to know our coach Ron Middleton more than we ever did before. And who didn't fall in love with Coach Middleton? But of course, the players already know this. He's been around forever. We just didn't know. We weren't paying attention to the tight end coach from wherever.
Right.
But the players know. So Uzomah came here and his smile was about 10 miles long. He had the biggest smile I've ever seen in my life. I was like, this kid loves it here. And that is really saying something too, in addition to Coach Middleton. Do you think CJ Uzomah would have come here if he thinks Zach Wilson's going to suck? Think about that.
Right.
He's watching the tape, and he's used to playing with Joe Burrow and all those receivers down there in Cincy. So he knows good quarterback play in the NFL. He's playing with Joe Burrow. And he said, yes, I will come and play for the Jets with Zach Wilson as the quarterback. So do you think he looked at that tape and went, this kid's going to suck? I mean, come on.
Right. Why would he do that?
That's got to be encouraging. When I saw that we got CJ Uzomah, I said, this has to be encouraging about Zach Wilson, because they're all dissecting the tape. They're looking, when they're figuring out where to go. And he decided, let me go with Zach over Joe Burrow, which to me, that was very encouraging.
Yeah, it is encouraging. And to dovetail with that, we're getting guys like Uzomah's just such a great example. He's coming from a winning team, like Frankie said, with a winning quarterback. I mean, Joe Burrow's on the uptrend, man. That guy's, he's just starting to make his mark in the NFL. Can you hear the rain, Frankie? Can you hear that? Can you hear the rain, guys? I got to put my headphones back on. Forgive me. But it's like, I don't know. It's pouring here in Oklahoma, Frankie. Let's see. But it's a good sign that guys are coming from winning organizations and coming here without the $21 million per year overpay that we're seeing from our peers down there in Jacksonville. It's a very reasonable contract. I think he costs what did they say? $4.5 million the first year.
Well, it's interesting because this is a good case study, right, for Uzomah. So it was reported that we signed him for 3 years, $24 million, and you go, okay, that's $8 million a year. Spot Track had him at 8.2, perfect market value. So you say Joe Douglas struck a deal exactly at market value, $8 million a year. Great. Well, then the details come out, and you learn that in the first year he's only going to make $4.67 million. So in the first year, over the term of the deal, when the cap is going to be the lowest, he's making a small amount, 4.67. Then it's going to go up from there. He's going to make over 9, the next 2 years, but the cap is going up. So it's fair to the player. Not a problem. That we hear.
Oof.
That we can hear.
Scary.
Whatever that was.
The one night I get internet, Frankie, the fucking power's going to go out. That's what's going to happen. I know it.
That's freeze bean. That's why we.
That's my lot. Yeah.
Anyway, so then we find out that Uzomah, in fact, is not making $8 million this year. He's making 4.67. Now he's still made whole, and it's all about the signing bonus and spreading it out and this, that, and the other. So he's made whole. It's not like we're cheaping out on him, but at the same time, we keep the cap hit reasonable so we can sign other guys.
Totally.
That's exactly the kind of thing that you want your GM doing. So it's perfect. We get the talented guy, and we get him at a reasonable cost. Perfect.
Correct. And that's the thing. So it's one thing when you can steal a CJ Mosley because you gave him $5 million more than anybody else in the league was making at his position per year. That's one thing. Okay, you got to do that. But that's why he came here. Don't let CJ Mosley fool you with he came here to change the culture. Has nothing to do with it. He signed because he couldn't believe with the contract that was slid in front of him. He's like, are you fucking kidding me? So, but we're seeing guys come here that have all this potential, that are coming from winning organizations, and we're not blowing their doors off with ridiculous contracts. They're value contracts. They're good contracts. We're not cheaping anybody out, but that's the whole thing. So that's the real thing that you want to focus on. Why are they coming here? It means that they believe in the system. These guys are young guys. They could have look, Uzomah's the best example. He's got Joe Burrow. He's got Jamar Chase. This guy, he can become this great tight end out in Cincy. And he said, you know what? I'm going to go over there. And that's a good indicator. It's a good sign.
He said, Zach Wilson's for me. He said basically what Braxton Berrios said. I ride with two. I ride with two. And Braxton Berrios
did you see?
Braxton Berrios is another example. Braxton Berrios is playing for $3.5 million. He only
think
has
about that.
$7 million guaranteed. It's a $12 million contract, and we said, $6 million. That's right on the Spot Track projection. But actually, only 7 is guaranteed, so that means 3.5.
Incredible. And if you guys didn't catch it, watch on New York Jets website or on their Instagram when Braxton came back into the facility. He was coming in to sign his contract on Wednesday. It's a good clip, man. You guys got to watch it. It's exciting. Salty Nuts Magoo checks in to remind everybody we got over 300. Actually, we're coming up to around 400 now. But the point is still the same. 300 viewers. Slam that like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, this is merely the beginning. We got tons of crazy shit that comes through this channel. I would love to have you aboard. If you haven't subscribed, please do. But first and foremost, let's just have a party and hit that thumbs up, that like button, and I will remove If we get to 250 likes, I will remove one article of clothing. This is a card from the Jeremy at NFL Chaos with Jeremy playbook. Not that he's done that yet, but it's in the same vein, I feel like. Phil Adams, what's up, Phil? He checks in when we were saying Joe Douglas could give a shit. He said, actually, it's 2 shits. And if you remember the Joe Douglas comment when they asked him, when he traded Sam Darnold, they said, well, if he succeeds, then that could mean that you failed in your trade, like you made a bad trade. He said, wait a minute, you're telling me I have to root against somebody in order for me to, I could give 2 shits about that. And I love that.
And he said Sam Darnold, he didn't do anything wrong. What did Sam Darnold do wrong when he was here except be bad at football? Other than that, he worked his tail off. He was a good citizen. He was good with the press. He, did things in the community like getting mono, but that's a whole other story. But
there's
still,
that.
You got to stay away from those New Jersey girls, I think. But
they're a problem.
Other than that, but he never did anything wrong. And so how are you going to root against a kid who's trying as hard as he can, putting everything into it and trying to be good? What are you going to do? Root for him to be bad? No, that's called being a bad human being. We root for Sam Darnold to do well. What do we care if the Carolina Panthers do well?
Well, let me just tell you, I root against everybody. So there's that. But Frankie's point is still very sound. And especially for a guy like Joe Douglas. Like he just said, Sam didn't do anything wrong. He came here and we just gave him nothing. And he sucked. And then he went down to Carolina and he sucked there too. Jets Carpetbagger, thank you. I appreciate that. He says, go buy some gas, buddy. I actually Frankie, we were paying $5.90 a gallon for gas.
I was going to say for $9.99 you could get a thimbleful.
I know, right? It's basically how it feels, like $2.50 to fill up my tank. But today I saw, and we got $3.39 gas with my app, with that app that I put down there. $3.39. I almost cried. I was like, oh my god! It was only one place, but we did it. Why are you filming? What's going on? My wife's like, I can't believe that they can even hear you. It's like thunderous and crazy out here. I know. I said the one night I get good internet, the power's going to go out. That's what's going to happen. I know it. I already know. I've braced myself.
Those storms in the South are crazy. Like in Texas, I don't know about Oklahoma, but it must be the same in Oklahoma as it is in Texas. The storms that come through Texas are insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. Today we were driving. I had to drive through New Mexico and Texas and Oklahoma and everything. And it was 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts. We went to a place today. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it, called Cadillac Ranch, where they stick all the Cadillacs into the ground and everybody spray paints them and everything. We went there. It was so windy that paint cans were flying out of your hand. That's like, whew, a can is paint. How does that happen? So that's 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So it's been a day, Frankie. It's been a day. JB Jets checks in. He says, Anthony Barr is still a free agent, GreenBean, so it's still time to pull off your idea of offering him a contract, taking him to New York City to sign, only to pull it away from him once he gets there. Yeah, well, JB Jets, as funny as that is, that actually happened 2 times this year that I was told about. Again, I'm on the road, so I've had really a difficult time keeping up with all the madness that's going on. But I was told that Randy Gregory actually made an agreement with Dallas and then pulled the plug and went wherever the hell he went. And there was another one with the Bills. A Bills guy agreed to the contract and then pulled it out and went somewhere else. So this stuff is still happening out there. But guess what, JB Jets? Not here, not now, not us. And that is what to be really happy about. It's happening. People are still doing that shit. But Uzomah, he came right here and signed. Laken Tomlinson. That's right. Everybody's happy. And we got 2 tight ends. I can't wait to talk about Conklin and Uzomah with you a little bit. We're going to bring Watu K on a little bit. We're going to bring Jeremy on. Jeremy's going to give away, I think he's got a pair of sneakers or something he's giving away tonight or some shit. I don't know what it is. Playing cards.
A doll of some sort, bro.
Yeah. He's got just boatloads of cards from, football cards from 1988 and all this cool stuff. But we won't know what that is. But thank you, JB Jets. And I would still love it if we brought in Anthony Barr and then just said, you know what? Now that you're here, here's a meal ticket. Here's a meal token. Go get a burger down the street. We've changed our mind. Sorry to fly you all the way in. I would be tickled. So let me see real quick here. Yeah, I'm trying. You hear that, Jeremy? Jeremy Wortman says GreenBean's talking louder to try to overpower the rain. Is the rain coming through? Can you guys? You have to hear it.
It sounds weird. It sounds like something's loose or something. Like,
yeah, I mean, it is. It is like the whole RV. I don't know if you can see that. It's like everything is just. It's like a hurricane. I hope I don't hear like a siren. This is that place where you get tornadoes and all that other kind of stuff. So listen, I want to get into. There's a couple more super chats I want to get to. And then I want to get into, there's a lot of people talking about DK Metcalf, Frankie. I really want to see your thoughts on maybe going that route and, foregoing a young wide receiver and going and getting a guy that might be a little bit more a sure thing. So, but let me talk about Mumtaz here. Mumtaz checks in. Thank you, Mumtaz, for the super chat. He says, so what were you told, GreenBean? The vid cut off. Also, we didn't go for Allen Robinson, it seems. Very reasonable contract. This means 10 would be wide receiver 100%. What a jam-packed comment. Now I'm going to tell you guys, and there's a lot to discuss here, Mumtaz. Number one, I put that video out on Instagram and it was perfect. I put it out on Twitter and it was perfect. And then we put it out on YouTube and I was driving, and my wife, she's the one who does everything technical for this family, and she gets it right. She didn't realize it wasn't a 15-second clip. It was a 60-second clip. So she put it up there as a 15-second clip. So it said like, here's what I know. And then it just stopped. I never told anybody. So I had all kinds of people reaching out. But Jeremy reached out to me on text. He's like, I have no idea what he's talking about. He's like, so what is it? I'm like, what's what? Like, I didn't even get it. So I'm sorry. I did put it back up there. Afterwards, it's called Update now. But we put it up there. And basically what it was saying, Mumtaz, is what I just played here on the show, which is... that the Jets never offered Marcus Williams a contract. It was all baloney. So, and that we didn't, there was the rumor that he wanted to charge us more and all. The truth is, from this source, that the Jets never even offered him a contract. So who knows? But that's pretty interesting. So now the second thing, Allen Robinson, I want to get your take on this, and then the wide receiver number 10. Allen Robinson, he went to the Rams, if I got that correctly. He went over to the Rams. Do you know what he got per year, Frankie?
He got around 10 was the report, as far as I
10.
saw it. Yeah, and if I remember correctly. But you also can't blame Allen Robinson for wanting to go play for a Super Bowl contender. So that's also factoring in. I don't know. It's interesting. The Allen Robinson thing is interesting. I was hoping we would get him. Subscribers to my channel know. I was thinking maybe we could get him. We didn't. And I wonder what that means. One thing it could mean, perhaps, maybe the Jets are higher on Denzel Mims than we thought. Maybe.
That's what I think.
Maybe they think, hey, we already got our wide receiver 1. His name is Elijah Moore. We got our wide receiver 2. His name is Corey Davis. And we got our wide receiver 3. And his name is freaking Denzel Mims. How about that? And wide receiver 4 is Braxton Berrios. And wide receiver 5 is Jeff Smith. And let's go.
And we're done. And we're done.
If they don't sign anybody else and they don't draft anybody else, especially at 10, let's say they take a wide receiver in the 5th round or something like that, 4th, 5th round, maybe that means they do believe in Denzel Mims, and that would be interesting. I don't think that's the case, but that could be what this means, and that's an interesting possibility, I think, and we won't know until the end of the draft, but it's possible that that's the case.
Yeah. Well, and I think, look, we all were talking about, there was a rumor that Allen Robinson wanted somewhere near 19 million. Now, all of us balked at that. We're like, that's not happening. Maybe, anywhere from 12 to 15, where people were talking about maybe 16, something like that. But 3 years, 15 or something like that with 10 million, that's much less than I thought he was going to get. But Frankie's right. If he has, the guy's been on the Jaguars and the really, really, really tough times for the Bears as well. They looked really good when he signed, but they went down the toilet in a hurry. I'm sure that he was willing to take a little bit less and go play somewhere and actually win some games. So maybe that happens. But there's the other side is maybe the Jets didn't really have any interest in Allen Robinson. He's a little, he's a little bit older. He's had a really down year. He's coming off an injury. Maybe they're like, why should we pay this guy? We're going to go pay tight ends and run our 12 personnel instead of paying for this guy.
That's
now
true too.
Right. So now the other part of Mumtaz's comment here, this means that number 10 would be wide receiver 100%. I'm going to tell you, and I want to hear your thoughts, but I'm going to say I am still convinced, and you guys have heard me say this from square one, from months ago. I think that our first round is going to consist of an edge rusher, Kyle Hamilton, depending. If not Kyle Hamilton, a linebacker. That's what I think. Now, whether it's Nakobe Dean or Devin Lloyd or whatever, that's what I think our first round is. Now, if it's not, I'm not going to be bent out of shape or anything, but I'm putting it out there. I think it's going to be Aiden Hutchinson, Kevin Thibodeau. When you guys see my mock, you're going to see I have a whole thing on how Aiden Hutchinson falls and everything, and we're going to grab him. It's beautiful. You're going to love it. But so Aiden Hutchinson and Nakobe Dean are going to be the picks, and we're going to wait till the second round and grab our wide receiver. That's what I think. We had a weird one with Mims. We had a good one with Elijah Moore. Joe Douglas likes wide receivers in the second round, and that's what I think is going to be happening. Do you think that now that we didn't get Allen Robinson and we didn't really go wide receiver in free agency, that number 10 is a wide receiver locked up?
Well, no, unless they feel like there's one wide receiver in the draft who is head and shoulders above all the rest. If they feel like there's for example, Kyle Hamilton is head and shoulders above all the other safeties in the draft. There's other good safeties, don't get me wrong, but almost just every evaluator, I think, has Kyle Hamilton head and shoulders above the entire rest of the class. Well, if they think that there's a wide receiver like that, if they think that way about Drake London or Garrett Wilson or, any one of them, then maybe they could go 10. But I don't think that they're going to think that. I think they're going to think these wide receivers, we're happy with any one of these 10 of them. There could be maybe even 15. So we can wait till pick 35 because any number of these any one of these that happen to be there, we'll just grab them then. But they would go 10 if and only if they feel like let's say Drake London, because he's 6'4", say, as an example,
right.
They feel like that guy, because of his size and his speed and everything else and all the other things, he's just way better than everybody else. So we got to grab him at 10 because we want him in particular.
Correct. Yeah, and I think if that happens, in my opinion, that would probably it could be Drake London, but it just from my mind, it looks like Garrett Wilson to me. If that's if they feel like they need him, that would be Garrett Wilson. But other than that, this wide receiver class, from my vantage point, looks like, and I like to use this word, they look compressed to me. It's not like the last few years where you had, Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb up top. Last year you had Davante Adams, Waddle, and Chase up top. They were just separated from the rest of the class. I don't really see that as much this year. There's a lot of talent, a lot of athleticism, a lot of speed, all that stuff. But they're kind of bunched up, and you could probably get very similar talent in the second 35, 38 that you're going to get at 10, unless like what Frankie said, they really love one guy, then I could see it. And I'd be happy if they feel that strongly about a wide receiver and they did it. I wouldn't be upset about it, but I still think that they're going to I think they're grabbing 2 linebackers in this class anyway, but that's a whole different thing. But I think Nakobe Dean or Devin Lloyd or whoever they like best is going to be coming at number 10. So Steve's comment kind of dovetails with that. He says draft order, edge, wide receiver, linebacker, tight end in that order. Now, let's focus real quick on that last one he said. We just brought in 2 tight ends, Frankie. We brought in Uzomah and we brought in Conklin. And I'm going to tell you, I might even like Conklin more than Uzomah. I'm really happy with this free agent tight end class that we've brought in. But do you still think there's any possibility of grabbing that Trey McBride, second round tight end? Do you think that's just gone now, or do you think they could still do that?
It's interesting. They could still do that. But the other thing they could do with that second round pick, they could go ahead and get the best goddamn running back in the whole draft. What about that? Well, because we didn't have that luxury before. But now that we have these 2 guys, we can still get a tight end in round 4. A good one, Charlie Kolar, you name it. There's tons of them. So we might say, you know what? We don't need Trey McBride so much. We need another tight end, on the roster. We'll get Charlie Kolar or Jelani Woods or somebody. But in the second round now, maybe we want to prioritize running back to such a point we might get Isaiah Spiller or whoever you think. Imagine getting Isaiah Spiller or
that would be the best.
or
Brees
whoever
Hall.
you have number one, it's like usually Brees Hall or Isaiah Spiller. And I would think they'd get Brees Hall because they like the name thing. Michael Carter, Brees Hall, Bryce Hall, CJ
Yep.
Uzomah, DJ
Makes
Reed,
sense.
CJ Mosley. Let's just confuse everybody with the names.
Right. LDT, ABT,
ABT.
GVR, all that's right. There's themes around here these days, Frankie.
Yeah. So we might go, and so instead we might prioritize running back all the way up to the second round to get the best running back in the draft, as opposed to just getting a running back in the fourth round or fifth round, who are also good. But so that's interesting to think about. I personally think, if you think about it this way, listen to these 5 names at position 10. Do you think it's likely we could get any one of these 5 at 10? KT, Hutch, Trayvon,
Walker.
You're right. Karlaftis and Jermaine Johnson. Out of those 5, I think we'd be happy with any one of those at 10, wouldn't we?
If we needed something else up top, like, for example, grab Kyle Hamilton and one of those edge rushers at 10, yes, I'd be very happy with any one of those.
And that's why I think you take Hamilton at 4, because there is no other Kyle Hamilton in this draft or any other draft of the last 10 years, as far as people are talking about. So you take him there because he's sui generis. He's one of a kind. Take him. But then here's 5 guys, and now there's a pecking order. You'd rather have Hutch and KT than the other guys, but you're probably happy with Trayvon Walker or Karlaftis or Jermaine Johnson at 10. There's your edge, okay, to pair with Carl Lawson and Jacob Martin and everybody else. Not that Jacob Martin's a big time player. He's not, but
right. And we'll talk about him. I want to give you an opportunity to dig into him a little bit too, in a little while, if that's okay, Frankie, if you're willing.
Yeah. And then but that way, if you do it that way, you get the sui generis safety, that the free safety that you pair up with Jordan Whitehead. Jordan Whitehead's down the box mostly. You put Hamilton back there as a center fielder to cover everything. Then you got the DJ Reed on one corner, Bryce Hall on the other corner. Good luck running the ball now with a heavy box and those guys who can man cover like crazy. Okay. And now we have tackling people who can tackle.
Oh, dude. And now the first thing that you brought up, and I want to just acknowledge Tyler T. What's up, Tyler? It's good to see you here, buddy. He says, woohoo! Jets, Jets, gas up. Instead of jet up, gas up. Now, I love you for that, Tyler. That was beautiful. I was perfectly woven in. That's fantastic. I dig it. But we were talking about this in my Patreon positional breakdown last night. We do that every Wednesday on my Patreon. If you want to get in that, you can see the link in the top of the description. I'm happy to have you, and I appreciate the support. But we were talking about just that, what Frankie just said. Maybe, just maybe, because of who we brought in free agency, we still might want a tight end in the 3rd, 4th round. You're going to get some Dulcich, Kolar. Somebody's going to be there for you. Jelani Woods, like you said. But maybe we instead, in the 2nd, instead of Trey McBride, you go and you grab Isaiah Spiller and you pair Isaiah Spiller or Brees Hall or whoever it is that you like the best. And you get potentially the top running back in the entire class to pair with Michael Carter. Now you got a solidified offensive line. You have 2 inline guys that can lay the wood on the outside. And now you're bringing in a 1-2 punch at running back and not focusing so much on the wide receivers. You could take a running back 35 and whoever you like at wide receiver at 38. Then you get a tight end at 69. But you bring in that running back, and then we might just have a lethal. That's an interesting switch of perspective for me. I wasn't thinking that until yesterday, until we talked about that. And now what you're mentioning, I'm actually starting to go, this is an interesting idea. Now, Frankie, would you do it?
And now what got me thinking about it was actually, and those who don't know, I would highly recommend joining GreenBean's Patreon. One of the things we talked about, there's kind of a little group. If you're a Patreon member, you get to be in this little exclusive, so to speak, group. And we were talking about it yesterday, I think it was. And, because I was always thinking, all right, let's bring in a guy like Brian Robinson. We were talking about it, and Brian Robinson is more of a short yardage guy. He's not really someone who's going to share the workload with Michael Carter, but you get him, you bring him in for short yardage. We need that too. So I've been always thinking, you get Brian Robinson, right? He's our short yardage guy, and then Michael Carter's going to carry the load, and then Tevin Coleman will get a few carries. All right, good. But now with that 38th pick, which we were all, I think, looking at Trey McBride and saying, give us that guy. Well, now we have Uzomah and Conklin, and you watch those guys on tape, and they're Y/F. They're doing it both. They're combo guys. They're not one or the other. It's not Mike Gesicki we picked up, who's very good for what he does, but he doesn't block anybody. It's not Kyle Pitts here. Kyle Pitts doesn't block anybody. He can barely block a cornerback. So, but they're very good pass catchers, obviously. But we got combo guys here, so that means that there is no Kyle Pitts in this draft. There's mostly good combo guys like Trey McBride and Kolar and all the rest of them. And
Ruckert and everybody.
Jeremy Ruckert, right? So that being the case, we could wait, and maybe when you'd say, well, what would we want to wait for then? Well, maybe we pick up the running back because Michael Carter needs to be a guy who gets a split load, and then you think back to his running mate at UNC, who is Javonte Williams, so in Denver,
right,
who's very, very, very good. And they had a split backfield in UNC, and maybe that's the way to keep everybody healthy, happy, and most productive. You split it 50-50. Now you get the great running game. Then you get the play action passes. Then people are wide open. You don't need, if you do play action, everybody comes up. Run action, they call it, right? Everybody comes up. Now you don't need a guy who's a route technician. Just need a guy to be in the right spot, generally speaking. Yeah, Denzel Mims can do that. maybe.
Maybe.
Just get behind the linebackers, Denzel. That's all we need to do. Right? And then Zach finds him. So, you could look at it that way. Let's solidify the run game. That'll make our pass game even better. So,
right. And
complementary football.
Totally. And let me just, an earlier comment, Laken Tomlinson is known as a ferocious run blocker. He's a good pass blocker as well, but he'll roll you over. So that's the thing, man. It's pancake time, but we're having pancake breakfast, Jets fans. So this actually makes a lot of sense, and it's starting to feel like it might be the direction. Now, this is just in response to our long week of awesomeness with the free agent, but you're looking at the design of who they're bringing in and why. And it's very reminiscent of what we saw in the Senior Bowl. Now, the Senior Bowl, Rob Calabrese was the offensive coordinator. As we know, he's our quarterback coach. But he doesn't have his own offense. He's running LaFleur's offense. And all we saw all day long was run the ball and the tight ends. Run the ball and the tight ends. Then they'd take a shot with the wide receiver. But both of our touchdowns were the tight ends. And then the other touchdown, which ended up being called back, was Rachaad White, who is what? The running back. So that's what this offense, that's what they want it to be, is that, two tight ends that can block and can actually pass. As we know, Tyler Conklin had 61 catches last year. That's instantaneously the best tight end we've had since Dustin Keller. Instantly. These two, either one of these new tight ends that we have are instantly the best tight end we've had in 12 years, without question. And so, one guy had 48 catches, the other guy had 61, so they can both catch the ball, they can both block, and they want to use that. Then you got Elijah Moore and Berrios and Davis and hopefully Mims, and then they can do all the other stuff. That's when they're trying desperately to take care of this pound you in the face offense with Michael Carter, Isaiah Spiller, and Conklin and Ruckert and Uzomah. They're not going to be able to handle it. And I think it does make some sense. So let's switch over to the defense here. And Jets New York 102, as opposed to New York Jets New York 101. This is, I think we saw 103 too. You guys are becoming a crew out there. I like this. He says Dean and Sauce in the first round. Now, interestingly, just like we're talking about the tight ends, maybe pushing McBride off of our board, maybe. Do you see that DJ Reed might have pushed any hope that these guys had for maybe a Sauce Gardner at 4 or 10, or maybe even a Stingley, whoever? Do you think that is now off the table with the signing of DJ Reed?
Yeah, this is something interesting to think about, GreenBean. Well, before I get to Sauce, Nakobe Dean, I think, is going to slide because of his size. I would prefer we get Devin Lloyd if we could take a linebacker. Devin Lloyd is compared to Fred Warner. Fred Warner is the guy that Saleh, needed for his defense to work out in San Francisco. And Devin Lloyd is the Fred Warner comp. So I would take him rather than Nakobe Dean, who's just a speedy guy, but kind of small. Now, Sauce. This is the interesting thing about Sauce Gardner. He had an interview recently with Richard Sherman. You may know that Richard Sherman has a podcast, and he interviewed Sauce Gardner. And what he told Sauce Gardner, among many other things, a very fascinating interview. Look it up on YouTube. One of the things he said, Sauce, you're projected to go in the top 5. And Sauce said, yeah. He goes, well, there's a team in the top 5 that I know you would be a perfect fit for. He goes, oh, really? What would that be? He goes, a team whose coach I used to play with, Robert Saleh, and the New York Jets. So he's telling Sauce Gardner, you would be a perfect fit in the Saleh defense. Perfect. And he goes through all the reasons and why, and it's a fascinating conversation. And this got me thinking, wow, that is fascinating that the Jets, of course, know that as well as Richard Sherman. And Richard Sherman, very bright guy, if you don't know, and knows his football, is super, super smart. But the Jets, of course, also know that. And then they signed DJ Reed, knowing they could get, most likely, if they wanted to take Sauce, they could take him with the 4th pick. No, for sure. They might even be able to get him with number 10, but 4 for sure. But then they went and got DJ Reed anyway. So here's something they could do, Green Bean, and you're not going to like this. What if they traded Bryce Hall? What could you get for Bryce Hall? A 2nd and a 5th? Something like that. Maybe they trade Bryce Hall and then draft Sauce in the 1st round. What do you think of that?
Well, yeah, I don't like it.
I don't love it. I don't love it either. But just thinking that Richard Sherman called out Saleh and the Jets with that and said it's the perfect fit with Sauce Gardner. You could probably get a lot for Bryce Hall. He's got to be pretty valuable.
Yeah, well, I think he does have some value. I mean, people knock him. They said, actually a couple of our beat writers are really grabbing this one, and a lot of fans are running with it that Bryce Hall can't, catch the ball, which is just so inaccurate.
That's ridiculous.
It really is. It's just very inaccurate. I mean, Bryce Hall played very, very well. Now, is Bryce Hall a number 1 corner? Maybe not, but he's definitely a good starting cornerback. Now, you can get value for him, and the idea of upgrading the position is always, that's always attractive if you have the opportunity to upgrade something. But here's the downside to upgrading that position. We have DJ Reed, we have Bryce Hall, we have Brandon Echols. So these guys are there. Now we're talking about year 2 in the system for Hall and Echols, and we have Michael Carter, but slot. So we have these guys. You could upgrade it, but now you lose the potential of grabbing that top 4 edge rusher or the Kyle Hamilton for a position that we don't have. And that's where I don't like it. Now you get the 2nd, let's say it's a 2nd and 5th, which I don't know if Bryce Hall would be a 2nd, maybe a 3rd at this point. Maybe I just don't know. And that's nice. But what are you going to get there? Bryce Hall was a steal in the 5th round, man. I mean, he wasn't supposed to be there. The only reason he was there is because of COVID and they couldn't check out his ankle and all that sort of stuff. There's no good reason why he was in the 5th round. So anyway, I don't really love it, but I think that it's still possible. Jets, New York 102. But I think it's unlikely. In my opinion, and I've said this numerous times, I don't think the Jets are going cornerback in the 1st, even if we didn't bring DJ Reed in. I just don't see it. I think that there are too many other holes. They could get away if they addressed edge rusher, linebacker, safety in this year, in this free agency and draft. They could get away with these cornerbacks for another year and find out if they're not the guys, then that can be the position that we focus on the year after. That's just how I see it. I could be off. But I think Sauce is unlikely, even with Frankie's masterful creation.
I'm just trying to rile Greenbean up. Yeah. I don't want to trade, and I'm just so everybody knows, I don't want to trade Bryce Hall. I think he's fantastic. I think he's solid. He's good, and he's also a good human, A+ human. So great for the locker room, all that good stuff. So I love Bryce Hall, but it could be something. It just made me think when I heard that from Richard Sherman. Just made me think, boy, it must be awfully tempting to get a guy like that, a perfect fit, lower cost, so long and lean. He's like Antonio Cromartie, but with Darrelle Revis smoothness.
Oh my God! See, now you know what you're doing. See, Frankie's doing the thing. He's saying he's Antonio Cromartie with Darrelle Revis tendencies. Like he knows that's going to touch my point. That's going to poke my buttons. But I don't know. I think
he's
it's
a great
unlikely.
kid too. He's from Detroit. He's hard. Came up from a meager means, and he's doing it
Yeah,
for his
good
mom,
story.
all that kind of stuff. Good story. Yeah.
All the stuff. So Jimmy Mills checks in. Thank you for the super chat, Jimmy. He says, if we go O-line or cornerback at 10, should we still draft a wide receiver? Wouldn't we get better value at other positions? Well, interesting, Jimmy. I actually happen to see it the opposite way, like I was just talking about. I don't think the value at wide receiver is in the top 10. I think the value is in the later first to the early third. That's where I think the value is for wide receiver in this particular draft. As much as I like Treylon Burks, and the combine didn't scare me away from Treylon Burks like it did with a lot of other people. You know, he was the number one guy that Jets fans were talking about for the 10th overall pick. The combine came and it flipped over to Sauce. And that's it. Like, he's gone. It's like Treylon Burks is now a late second round pick. I didn't get spooked by Treylon Burks' combine. I would have liked to see him do better, but I actually really like his game. But if I'm going 10, a wide receiver at 10, it's probably going to be Garrett Wilson, but I don't like Garrett Wilson that much more than I like, now different, but than I like Pickens, than I like Watson. There's quite a few guys, then I like London. Like, to me, they're all bunched up. There's a lot of guys that are talented, but I don't see Jamar Chase. I don't see Davante Adams. I don't see, Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb. I just don't see that type of prospect in this draft. So I think that if we went offensive line or cornerback at 10, that means to me that wide receiver is going to be a second or third round pick. That's how I see it. Do you see it that way, Frankie? You see it otherwise?
Yeah, I see it that way. I don't think we're going O-line that soon. I think we're going to we will draft an O-lineman because you're never done at offensive line, as you know, GreenBean. But I think it's going to be somebody like a Cole Strange or a guy like that in the later rounds. Maybe even the third round. I mean, we're going to pick a developmental guy, somebody to replace, Chuma Edoga, on the roster, and then if he needs to come in, he can come in. But I don't think we're going to spend a premium asset on a line. I mean, I think our line is done. Our starting line is done. I think it's done. But we do need depth. I mean, we are, I hate to break the news to everybody. We did sign Dan Feeney back. Sorry to break the news. Sorry.
Dan Feeney, Nathan Shepard, baby. We're going to the bowl.
Feeney and Shepard are coming back. So I didn't see that one coming. I'll tell you that.
Well, let me tell you something. Dan Feeney, as terrible as he looked at guard, when he came in at center, he looked better.
He might be our backup center. And
he might be our backup center. Right.
And our backup guard is GVR.
Wouldn't
it be great if we could get LDT, give LDT GVR's money and say goodbye to GVR? How about that?
GVR's got to go. I mean, look, Joe Douglas has no pressure to do anything. You know what I mean? Like, he's just that guy. Don't forget how long he held on to Brian Winters. Like, he's going to make sure that this is the best move for me. Like, I don't have to make a move on this yet. So I'm going to wait, but I think GVR's gone. I do.
Joe Douglas got a pick for Blake Cashman. Hello. We got
Wait, we're going to talk about that. Wait, don't talk about Blake Cashman. We have a surprise for you guys.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to bring it in. But oh shit, now I threw my thought. But I wanted to say too, oh shit, I lost my train of thought. Oh, somebody was talking about Joe Blewett is not as high on Hamilton. And I actually watched that. Joe Blewett is somebody I respect immensely. I happen to like a great deal and I get along with as well. And I respect his opinion. And what he's talking about with Hamilton is the bad angles. And that's completely accurate. It's one of the knocks on Kyle Hamilton is that he has a tendency to take a bad angle. But here's the underlying thing about that is that Kyle Hamilton can take bad angles because he knows that he can make up for it with his athleticism, right? He's like a deer. He's a man amongst boys in many instances out there, and he knows that. So that's the kind of thing that they're going to have to work on with him, but it's not so egregious that it's like, ooh, this guy, like, you got to watch. It happens from time to time. Me personally, I think Hamilton has more than enough to make him a top 10 draft pick, but that doesn't mean I don't still think that guys have things to work on. I mean, look, Troy Polamalu came into the league and was a special teamer his whole rookie year. Now, Jets fans would have seen him and said he's a bust, but that's not the case. He was a special teamer his entire rookie year. We know how Troy Polamalu ended up becoming. Now, why is that? Because they had things to work on with him. He wasn't ready. Now, Kyle Hamilton, we would want to come in and be an immediate impact, I imagine. And I think he would be, but that doesn't mean he's not going to have a rookie year. Like, he's probably gonna, no matter where he goes, he's probably going to have his clams and he's going to have his mistakes. And that's a rookie. That's what they do. But at the same time, I think that bad angle knock, which I don't disagree with, I think that's very, very easily coached out. And he just needs to see the speed of the game. And he's a football player, man. He's going to know how to adjust on that. Again, I think he does that. I saw a whole thing on that too, where he does that because he's able to make up for it with his, just pure athleticism. That's not necessarily going to be the case in the NFL. And it could be a bugaboo. There are enough teams are going to go, I don't like that. But I don't think it would spook me at all. I would take Hamilton. If Hutchinson or Thibodeau are there, I would take them. If they're not, I'm taking Hamilton every day of the week. And I, just like Frankie said earlier, or alluded to, I would wait and see which edge rusher, Karlaftis, Trayvon Walker, or Jermaine Johnson are at 10, and I would take them. That's what I would do. But let's move on to Hader Ali. And then after this super chat, I want to bring on Wat2K for our very special Blake Cashman tribute. It's going to be, it's so cool, man. And it's funny, they actually did this on NFL Chaos with Jeremy the other night. So some of you guys may have seen it, but it was an absolute blast. And I wanted to share it with you guys during this stream. And we'll bring Wat2K on right after I get Hader's super chat in. Thank you, Hader. It's good to see you, buddy. He says, all gas, no brake. Beans been telling you guys for a year now. Joe's the best GM ever. Tell old Frankie number 4 will be a defensive end. Tibbs, Walker, etc. What you say, bro? So I don't think Frankie has any issue with an edge at defensive end, or do you, Frankie? All right. Well, you're thinking Hamilton. What do you got? What do you got for Hader?
Well, I think it's between an edge and Hamilton. That's basically it. Now, so if Hutch falls to us at 4, I think you take Hutch. KT, probably the same thing. Trayvon Walker, to me, is almost in that same category. He's so intriguing, but I think I might be able to get him at 10. So, like, if it's Hutch or KT, I take them. If it's not, then I take Hamilton. And then at 10, I either get Trayvon Walker, Karlaftis, or Jermaine Johnson. That's the way to go. That's the way I see it. So it depends. And then that way you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. We do have Carl Lawson coming back, and you pair Carl Lawson with Jermaine Johnson. Say, I'm happy. Karlaftis, yeah. I'm happy. Trayvon Walker may have the highest ceiling of them all. That guy is crazy. He has 35-inch arms. That's a pterodactyl coming at you. 35-inch arms, and he's a monster. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, and Hader, look, dude, I'm with you, man. You guys know I've taken quite a bit of heat on this channel and on the Jets, Talking Jets panel with Ryan and O'Leary. I take a lot of heat from a lot of fans consistently defending Joe Douglas. And I'm not doing it from a homer position. I'm doing it from a position of I actually like the way that I'm seeing things dismantled. Very systematically. I love the capital that he's getting for guys that I just struggle to see them as really all that great. As much as I love the idea of Jamal Adams, and I'm not going to, go revisionist history and tell you that I didn't like him when he was here. I did, but I always would talk about it with guys like, I just don't see outside of a handful of times, I never see Jamal Adams like making that big play at that moment when you need him to. He's silent during those times, where conversely, Quinnen Williams, in the handful of, the years that we've had him, seems to have a knack for doing that. Like, he'll be quiet all game, and then it's 4th and 1, and then Quinnen Williams gets a big sack or a big stuff. So, like, that's the more important stuff. When do guys show up? Are they padding their stats, 10 minutes into the first quarter when it doesn't mean anything? Or are they coming up big? And Jamal Adams, to me, I always wondered, I'm like, when is this guy going to come up big? There's a couple plays. I don't want to take everything from him, but what Joe Douglas was able to do with guys like that, Chris Herndon, Sam Darnold, Jamal Adams, and on and on and on, I'm very, very happy with. And I believed that he's stockpiling picks. He's stockpiling money. Let's wait and see what he does with it before we love him or hate him, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? Like, please, can we let him use the picks before we hate him? So anyway, I'm really excited, Hader. And I think that this free agency is I think doing a really good job of cooling down a lot of Jets fans that were having a difficult time with the fact that Joe Douglas's tenure has been losing seasons. I mean, you can't take that. You can't change that. Last 2 years, he's got 6 wins. So if you're looking at it through that lens, I do understand. But if you look at the scenario with those 6 wins, for me, I really like what's going on. So guys, as we know, Blake Cashman is a guy that Mike McCagnon took in the 5th round for no reason. All right. No reason to take Blake Cashman, who had 2 season-ending injuries in college, comes into the NFL. Now, we all rooted for him. We all liked him. He's known as a great team guy, a great leader, plays his ass off. All that stuff is good. But the guy could not get on the field for us, Frankie. And somehow we were talking about Blake Cashman being an obvious cut. Somehow Joe Douglas just flies into Houston and leaves with a 6th-round pick and dumps Blake Cashman in his bags. So Wat2K is going to come on here with us, and he's going to help us, and we're going to do a little bit of trivia and have some fun with this. We're going to see how injured was this guy. Is this guy should he have gotten a 6th-round pick for him? Let's see exactly what Wat2K thinks. Let's say hello to him. Everybody, welcome Wat2K back to the show. Injure your shoulder?
Yeah, my shoulder. Oh, man, I got to stretch this thing out. I might be out for a couple of weeks. Yeah, I may have to go on IR, GreenBean. I'm sorry, man.
That's all right. You'll be back.
We got to trade Wat2K for a 7th-round pick. What's going on?
As long as it's not a conditional 7th-round pick.
Yeah. So I want to add real quick, too. So Wat2K does a show every Wednesday on NFL Chaos with Jeremy. We're going to bring Jeremy on in a few minutes as well. He's got some good stuff to give to you guys. And I'm lying. I don't know if it's good stuff or not. I know he's got stuff. And so far, it's been pretty good stuff, but I can't promise. Jeremy's going to come on and do some giveaways and all that. But on Wednesday night, on the Wacky Wednesday show on NFL Chaos with Jeremy, Wat2K did this really great segment about Blake Cashman. So I'd love it if you could reproduce that, at least to the best of your ability, for us tonight here. Does that sound good, Wat2K?
I think I could do that, GreenBean.
Nice. Let's do it.
Okay, so, chat, this is the saga of Blake Cashman, and guess what? You all get to participate in it.
Nice.
So let's go back to the beginning, and Frankie, you're going to help out too. All right? Let's go back to the beginning. The draft was in 2019. It was the last draft of the Mike McCagnon era. And Mr. Cashman was drafted in the 5th round, number 157 overall. A draft that also included the likes of Quinnen Williams, Ja'Kai Polite, Chuma Edoga, Trevon Wesco, and Bless Austin. So
solid.
Yeah.
Solid. There's a haul.
There's a haul.
Slightly less painful than the Idzik 12, only because there's fewer picks.
Right. That's about it. That's all that helps it.
Some of them actually played. So we decided to give Mr. Cashman an opportunity to play. We wanted to see what the kid could do. Adam Gase gave him a shot. And so he actually played quite a bit in his first 7 games. And in those 7 games, he had 27 solo tackles. Not bad. 3 tackles for a loss, 3 quarterback hits, half a sack, a forced fumble, a pass defense, and things were looking good for Mr. Cashman.
Yeah,
this looks to be a pretty decent looking pick. But then came week 8 at Jacksonville, and he got injured. And in that game, chat, Frankie, tell me, he hurt his what? What body part?
All right, chat. So Blake Cashman's first injury. What was Blake Cashman's first injury after he came in, played 7 games, had a nice little batch of tackles and some tackles for a loss? He got hurt week 7, was it, or week 8?
Week
you remember?
8. The bye was the 7th game, but it was week 8 because they had a bye before then.
All right, so we got some guesses.
I'll go with the hamstring.
Yeah, we'll have some more guesses here. Yeah,
I'm going soft tissue because I think he's a soft tissue guy.
Yeah, soft tissue. Well, Twisted Mind says his labia. What's his labia? What is that, Twisted Mind?
That's a country like in Africa.
Yeah, that's a country, Twisted Mind. I think he might be shooting for labia. Maybe that's what he's from.
Yeah, the next week he hurt his Nigeria.
Yeah. Big Green says his shoulder. Is Big Green accurate?
That's right. He tore his labrum specifically, which is a devastating injury to have, and he was done for the season. So that was
right. We're getting
number 1. So
we're getting some funny answers though. Mark Riz says his labia majora. Snowball checks in and says he hurt his ego, Y2K.
I heard that
Stephen
one last
Engel.
night too, when we only had 20 people in the chat.
That's a good one.
I'm expecting
Steven,
to repeat answers from last night, honestly.
of course, yeah. Stephen Engel says his vajagal. I don't know if that's it. Jeremy Cravat says his turf toe. So it ended up being his shoulder was his first injury. So would you say his labrum?
Yes, the labrum, which is a muscle in the shoulder area, I believe. So
okay.
Yeah, so that rookie season that showed flashes of promise was snuffed out. He was placed on IR on November 1st. But then came 2020. It was a new season, a new opportunity. He had half a season under his belt. He had that time to learn. It was a new start, a new opportunity. We had a few linebackers on the team like Patrick O from Baltimore, and we had kept Neville Hewitt and James Burgess. There were hopes for CJ Mosley, but that didn't quite work out. But it was still a new opportunity for Mr. Cashman. So week 1, we played the Buffalo Bills. Did he get through that game successfully? He did not. I'll save you the suspense. And in that game, he hurt his what?
All right. So number 2, Frankie, what do you think his second injury was in week 1 against the Buffalo Bills?
Got to be the hamstring. Going hamstring.
Hamstring, okay.
We got ankle. I see ankle. I see flux capacitor, foreskin.
Back, hamstring, groin, hymen, runny nose.
Yeah. Menstrual cramps. I twisted mind. He's one letter off. Menstrual cramps. Is that accurate?
I think that would have been termed just like a body injury, actually. I don't think they would have gotten too specific on that one. No, the answer was
right.
It was groin. It was an old groin. So
all you
order the game.
Nice. So all you guys saying labia and testicle, you're not all that wrong. So it's right in the same compartment. So there you go. So he hurt his groin. That was week 1, his second season. So how did his career go? What happened after that?
Well, 2 days later, he's put on IR, so he had to miss 3 games by league definition. He did not miss 3 games. He missed 4 games. But he came back. The season was not done. No. Blake Cashman came back for week 6 against the Miami Dolphins on October 17th. And you know how many games he played after that?
6.
I'm not going to go to the chat. I'll just ask you. He played 2 full games, but then in the third game back against Kansas City, he got injured. And guess what body part got injured this time?
Frankie, what do you got?
I'm sticking
hamstring. He's staying with the hamstring.
Stay with the hamstring.
JR said he blowed out his nutsack. Is that accurate?
I think that happened in college, as it tends to for a lot of us.
Now, I don't know if the spelling is right here, but Big Green is going with a little water boy action. He's saying his medulla oblongata.
Medulla oblongata. Anger, jealousy, and aggression come from there.
That's right. That's what makes alligators so ornery. It's not because they have all those teeth and no toothbrush.
Colonel Sanders taught us all that. Let us never
right. Colonel Sanders. Right. All right. So he heard his what? What is it? Y2K. What is this?
Yeah, that game. See, I gotta look for a minute to make sure I got it right. Frankie, you were right. He hurt his hamstring. It was a hamstring injury. But there is good news from this. He did not go on IR. He was considered week to week, and so the next week was against New England. He did not play. Then came the bye week off to heal. So obviously he didn't play there. Then came a game against the Chargers. He did not play again. But he did come back on November 29th against the Miami Dolphins. So they wanted to give him another chance. The defense was struggling. They had still not won a game yet, and it was November 29th. And he recorded 1 tackle against the Dolphins. And then he aggravated the hamstring in the same game. And on December 3rd, he was put on IR for the season. So long, 2020. That's the end of year 2.
That's the end of year 2. So that's 3 injuries in one. So we almost had hope for this guy. We thought he was going to be an injury-prone guy. He comes in, he plays 7 games. We think, hey, maybe this guy's onto something. He gets hurt. We go, okay. We'll start year 2. He makes it through training camp. He gets into game 1. He gets hurt. Comes back and gets hurt. And then he gets hurt again. So this is now 4 injuries. Am I lost already, or am I accurate? In total, is this injury 4?
And that's 4, and that's not even counting that he had 2 seasons in college that ended prematurely because of season-ending injuries. We're not even talking about those.
I know. What about season 3? So this is we're in 2021 now. Look,
That's
we're
right.
we're coming.
It's a new era. We've got a new coaching staff. We've got a new defensive coordinator. You know, you have a clean slate. Whatever you've done before, it's out the window. You could start over. You can make new first impressions, and we're just looking for hope. You know, we got some guys on this defense that we've drafted. You know, there's going to be some excitement here. And if you can play, this coach will play you. It's going to happen. So our opening game was against the Carolina Panthers, against, Sam Darnold and Robbie Anderson and Justin Burris and Frankie Louvu and all those great ex-Jets that they were. Did he get through this game successfully? Did he get through the game and come back to play week 2? No, he did not.
No.
And in that game, he hurt his what?
Hamstring.
All right, what? I think Frankie might be right this time. I think it is the hamstring, right? Yeah. So what do you guys think? We got back problems, nipples. These guys, they've completely stopped guessing for real. They're all on.
So when I said nipples, which nipple are you referring to? Because that's important.
Right. Which nipple? The oblique, FOC. So what was the fun? Now this one kept him out all year. Am I right here, or did he ever come back at all?
This was not a season-ending injury, as a matter of fact.
Oh my gosh, this guy.
No, was not. In that game, he hurt his hamstring. It was another hamstring injury.
I knew it
was
Frankie.
Went on IR, missed 3 games, but like we said, he was not finished for the season. No, because the Jets at this time, you see, had an opportunity to play a game in Tottenham, in London, England. So he was going to take his talents across the Atlantic Ocean, giving the fans in the UK an opportunity to see all that he was capable of. Great opportunity to showcase his skills in this game, right?
Right.
Well, he played in that game in London, did absolutely nothing of note. And in the next game, that was against the New England Patriots. And in that game, he did not get through that one unscathed either. In that game, he hurt his what?
Hamstring.
All right, this is the last one.
What do you get?
We're just getting her boarding the plane.
Yeah.
He got luggage from baggage services. I believe he strained his back. Probably is what happened.
Yeah. So what was the final injury? It was hamstring, right?
A groin injury. It was groin. So it's been
this
lower
guy.
body. Yeah. So
this guy with his groin and hamstring. This guy. I mean, I don't know. It's a problem. He's got real issues with this lower body situation. So that was the end of Blake Cashman, huh?
That was the end of Blake Cashman. Then he was placed on injured reserve for the season. So if you do the math on this, by the way, that's 5 IR stints in 3 years. Okay. And then if you look at the stats, we compare the stats. I mentioned in 2019, he played 7 games before he got hurt, recorded 27 tackles, had a few other miscellaneous stats here and there, right? Let's look at the last 2 years, 2020 and 2021 combined. He played 7 games, the same amount he played in just his rookie year. And in that 2-year period of time, he recorded 7 solo tackles. That was it. No impact plays of note, nothing whatsoever. And at the end of the day, Joe Douglas traded this guy who was drafted in the 5th round and got what will likely be a very high 6th. And it's going to be about a 20 to 25 draft spot difference. And so ends the saga of number 53, Blake Cashman. Good luck in Houston.
Blake Cashman.
Except for one thing. We could also use this as a case study of how the beat sucks and how we should boycott the beat. Why is that, Frankie? Well, when we signed Tyler Conklin, Brian Kaz, I forget what Cosworth or whatever his name, the beat writer Kaz.
Costello.
Cazella, whatever. He puts out a tweet that says, Jets get tight end. That was the tweet. When we trade Blake Cashman, he says, Jets trade Blake Cashman to Houston for a 6th-round pick. Cashman is a key special teamer when healthy. Come on.
Yeah,
man.
Right. It's like he doesn't even know.
Jets get a tight end when we acquire Tyler Conklin, and you're going to put in the tweet, he's a key special teamer when healthy, Jet fan, just to, rub it in, make sure that you're losing a key special teamer when healthy, Jet fans. And this is why they suck.
Right. And he has literally not been able to play for any consistent period of time after his rookie year. And we're losing a key special teamer. And that's the thing. Like, this is this guy's job. Here we are in here. We're just dudes talking because we like this. And we know significantly more than they know. This is their job. Let me tell you something. If you walked into my office, when I was working, that is, if you walked into my office and asked anything about my job, I knew more than you. That was the way it went. I knew more than you about my job. This guy, Jets get a tight end, and the Jets lost a key special teamer. How about Joe Douglas pulls off an absolute miracle, getting a draft pick for a guy who has been a touch more than a ghost for 3 years? How about that? But they won't say that. It's always this little negative little poke. Just so you know, Jets fans, you just lost one of your key special teamers that you never knew about because he never plays, because he's always on IR, but he's still key. Very, very important to the success of this team. So, number one, I hated that pick. Now, I never hated Blake Cashman. Again, I rooted for him. That rookie year gave us lots of hope for who he could become. But what happened with his career was exactly what the concern was with him coming out of college. It was that he's never going to stay healthy. He couldn't stay healthy in college. Like Y2K said, he had 2 season-ending injuries in college. And then he comes into the NFL when all we needed that year above everything else was a center. And we made it all the way to the 5th round without grabbing one. And I was screaming, just grab somebody that plays the position. Just bring someone in. And he brings in Blake Cashman, and his career went exactly as we thought. And Joe Douglas turns around. We all thought he was getting cut. When you looked at everybody's off-season plans and, season plan 2.0, and everybody said, Blake Cashman's one of the cuts. Frankie, did you have Blake Cashman on your cut list this year?
Yeah, I thought we were going to get rid of him just to save the money. And we could shave off $1.5 million, $2 million, whatever it was. I was like, all right, this guy's out of here. Never in my wildest dreams did I think we could recoup a pick of any kind. And not only that, it's not a 7th round pick. We did even better. Right. We got a 6th round pick. It's unbelievable. And
that's
this guy,
right.
And Kaz is going to come on here and tell me, oh, it's a key special teamer when healthy. Oh, okay, Kaz. Thank you.
When
very
healthy.
much.
That's the key.
Yeah.
When healthy.
It's always about these angles, these freaking angles. Thanks, Kaz. Yeah. Jets get tight end. Don't tell me what we can do. Don't tell me what we can do in 12 personnel. Don't tell me what kind of holes there's going to be for Michael Carter running for daylight. Don't tell me any of that. Just tell me, oh, Jets get tight end. Oh,
Jets get tight end. He's an afterthought. Funny. Yeah. Jets get tight end. Who? What? What's his hair look like? For God's sakes. Talk about his hair.
Can he catch the ball? Can he block somebody, or just a tight end? Oh, thank you. Carl.
Right. What does he do? I know. I saw a really funny, maybe it was a tweet, but they said, there's no doubt in my mind that Dan Feeney and Tyler Conklin aren't going out smashing beer cans on their head together. And I was like, yeah, that looks about right. I'm happy.
I thought Ty Conklin was a Viking, and I don't mean a Minnesota Viking. I think a Viking with Leif Erikson centuries ago.
Yeah,
like get away with that.
Yeah, that dude looks like he's gonna rip your damn head off, and
like an actual Viking.
Our team. Yeah, and he is on our team, and he looks like he's gonna rip your head off, and he
does right. And after he rips your head off, so he's going to rip your head off, peel off, catch a pass, and go run in the end zone. He had 61 catches last year, man. We haven't had a receiver with 61 catches in forever.
Our leading receiver for a tight end last year had 27. 27.
27.
Wow.
Was our leading tight end receiver last year. 27.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes.
And our leading receiver had, I think, 50. I think Crowder had like 50 catches, 51, something like that.
Right. Yeah. Think about that. That's what we're talking about, man. So we have upped this, and our beat, again, they don't know what they're talking about half the time. They're guessing. They don't even pay attention. You know, it's a funny thing. But Hater checks back in and says he agrees completely regarding Joe Douglas. I get the heat from family and my amigos too. Great show as always. Frankie and Y2K have great takes. Do we trade back to round one? Okay, so trading back into round one. So this is interesting. Number one, thank you. And yes, I agree. Frankie and Y2K have very good takes. So thank you, hater. But what do you guys think? Frankie, I'll ask you first. As far as the Jets maybe trading back into round one, you think there's any realistic potential that happens?
For what would be the question? You know, a lot of the things I'm seeing in the late, in the back of the first round, it's a lot of teams taking offensive linemen. Now things are going to change based on what happened in free agency, so we got to see. But we don't need an offensive lineman. I don't really see the need. I mean, the question would be for what and what's the cost, and there's no real need to do that. We have 4 and 10. We can get whatever we want, hater. We can do whatever we want, and that's the beauty of Joe Douglas. We can do whatever we want, whatever makes sense. If somebody knocks us over with a trade offer, okay, fine. But there's no real need, especially with the free agency having gone the way it has gone. We're filling a lot of needs already. And then what we do in 4, 10, 35, and 38, I mean, we'll be set pretty much after that. I mean,
yeah. What do you think, Wat2K? Anything you can think of? Frankie's point is, well, what are we trading up for? What do you think? Is there anything that you could see the Jets trading up for in round one?
If you'd asked me this question about a week ago, my mock draft would have had us trading back into the very end of the first round to draft a tight end. I think we would have tried to jump Jacksonville to draft a Trey McBride. I don't feel that way anymore. I think one of the focuses of free agency was to not have any glaring holes heading into the draft, so that we had these different positions that we need. There's obviously places that we have to upgrade, but we weren't necessarily married to a certain position with a certain pick at the top of the draft. And I think that's really important because it makes you less predictable with who you're going with. So for me, I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense to do that. I feel like the only position they haven't really addressed is linebacker, and you could say defensive tackle. I'm sorry, resigning Nathan Shepard for 1 year does not satisfy our need for a run.
No,
that is a great point. The other alternative way we could go with the 35-38, if it's not going to be tight end anymore, could be a guy like Perion Winfrey. Now we picked up that guy. Or somebody like that. And that is, to me, now I don't think Jet fans would really like it, but to me, I would love that because we do need to bulk up our defensive line, even because this isn't the old days where you just had 4 guys and they played the whole game like the New York Sack Exchange when we were growing up. The Solid doesn't play defense that way. You got to have 8 guys of high quality, and we don't have that right now. We're getting better. And the edge guy that we get will improve that a little bit. But even with that, we're still going to need another defensive tackle, or we could use. And so like a guy like Perion Winfrey would be very appealing in the second round. Very appealing.
Maybe they just turn around and they grab Perion Winfrey and Boye Mafi at 35 and 38, the Senior Bowl heroes. Imagine.
I mean, if you left,
I got to be honest,
Jala, he would do that. But
I'm getting sold on Jordan Davis. I watched Jordan Davis's video for the first time 2 days ago, and I couldn't believe how amazing he was.
He's
I watched
incredible.
like 10 minutes of Jordan Davis. I don't know if we're going to be in a spot where we want to draft a defensive tackle at 10, but I'm telling you, whoever gets him, they are going to be one fortunate team. He is a beast.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think he's going to go before. We'd have to trade way, but I think he's going to be a mid first. That's what I think at latest. I think he's in the teens. Yeah. But Jets New York 102 checks in. Yeah, thank you for the super chat, but I don't know what you're talking about this time. He says St. Peter's
basketball.
Yeah, St. Peter's just beat Kentucky in overtime, so a 15
there you go.
Beat a 2 seed. So see you later, Wildcats.
There you go, Wildcats. Sorry. You feel like I never knew.
Up tonight. A lot of brackets got busted.
Okay, well, there you go. Now, I saw something. I'll get to a number one B-Trav. Thank you for the super chat, my friend, but I don't see your question. I'll try to keep an eye out for it if you got something, but I will say thank you. Now, Jeffrey R. checks in and he says, Adam Schefter just tweeted 34 minutes ago that Carolina has been informed it is out of the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. That's interesting. I heard today, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I was listening to, I drive with my family, so it's hard to get any real time with Sirius XM NFL radio, but I did get 5 minutes, and they talked about the Browns being out of the sweepstakes. So is that accurate?
Yes.
Are the Browns? So who's left? The Saints
and the Falcons.
And the Falcons. Wow.
So if it's the Falcons, and if I were Deshaun Watson, I might want to go to the Falcons because their situation right now isn't the best. The Saints have a better team right now, but in a year or two, the Falcons will be able to reload, whereas the Saints are, have a lot of high priced people. And then, but the fascinating part to me, if he goes to the Falcons, what do they do with Matty Ice? Because Matty Ice would be the perfect quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts.
Ooh, now we're talking. So that's exactly what'll happen. If they end up winning the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes, Matty Ice is going to the Indianapolis Colts, who are just having a dandy of a time finding their quarterback since Andrew Luck decided to go, hey, you guys have been getting me killed for years. I know you just built it up and we're supposed to have a great season, but I'm quitting. So goodbye, everybody. But that would be interesting. That'd be interesting.
What happens with Jimmy G? And then once Jimmy G goes somewhere, then we could start talking to people. There goes GreenBean. Maybe then we could start talking to people about old Mike White. Perhaps you would like a Mike White on your team. And, he did get tendered for whatever it is.
2.32. How is Joe Flacco making over $1 million more than Mike White? And not that Mike White is great, but Flacco got 3.5. That's
going rate for his quality. But Mike White only gets paid what he gets paid because it's a tender. If he were on the open market, he would have got more. But
right. I think and we put a tender on them that actually could be attractive for the team if they are, a fifth is not all that. Yeah. I think that's why they did that.
That's what I think. That could be the reason we signed Flacco, is because we know we're going to trade Mike White for picks, and then let's have Flacco be the backup, and then you get a Josh Johnson or personal favorite Josh Dobbs for the practice squad. Always good to have a aerospace engineer genius on your team with a 4.0 grade point average. Let's get him in the quarterback room. He'll figure something out.
Yeah. Well, and I thought Flacco was a little bit. I was looking like around 2 for Flacco, but 3.5, like Frankie said, it's not egregious. It's just like, hey, we want this guy on our team. We want him to be our backup. We just got to pay him a little bit and keep him here. So I think that might be the real point, is like you said, like that 5th round tender for Mike White could be low enough that somebody's like, hey, we know he can play in the league. I want a competent backup. Let's bring him over. And Joe Douglas gains a 5th round pick for it. And that would be a 2022 for a 5th round pick as well. So that would give us 3. And then the Mike F. and White dream is over, everybody. So, hey, listen, I want to bring Jeremy on. It's getting a little bit late. I want Jeremy to spend a few minutes with us and give away something. He's been in there making sure I don't miss any super chats and hanging out and comments. So Jeremy's very, very important to the show. And I appreciate you, Jeremy. So what do you got to give away for our lovely... Oh, wait a minute. Before you do that, we did pass 250 likes. As promised, I'm going to take off my hat. One article of clothing. You guys trust me. That's all you want. I assure you.
I hope you have shoes and a couple of different pairs of socks on.
You know what's funny? Wat2K, as I'm sitting here, I just organically took my shoes and socks off. And I was like, oh, shit, I should have waited for the socks. But I got to be honest, and nobody wants to see my feet anyway. So hey, the hat will be it. But I was thinking that. So sorry, Jeremy, I had to derail you. I gotta keep my word. You know what I mean? I gotta keep my word.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just to keep doing my job, JB Jets is just gave you a super chat. Very generous.
Oh, JB Jet. All right, let's get to the super chat, and then we'll give you a moment to give something away. I'm thinking of doing an after show after this tonight too. You know why? Because I have friggin' internet, so I'm all excited. I'll stay online all, and I'm going to do 24 hours of GreenBean. Just because I have, 75 megabytes a second upload, or megabytes of whatever the hell is MPS, MPM, some shit, Wat2K. I don't know what I'm talking about, but it's good. It's better than I've ever had before. Megabytes a second. Yeah, it was megabytes a second. Hold on a minute. Let me see here. I got to speed. All right. So let's look at the super chat, and I'm going to get this going and tell you what my speeds are. But JB Jets, thank you for the super chat. He says, C. Hughes, I do believe in a trade is Connor Hughes. I do believe a trade is coming. Joe Douglas talked far too much about that not to strike one. Another beat guy hedged bet. Who do you need to trade for after free agency so far? Any idea, guys? So he's saying, right, Connor Hughes is a bet hedger. I want you to know that. Like he talked about Calvin Ridley being traded to the Jets for the 10th overall. We all knew that was just ridiculousness and was never going to happen. Now, once the Calvin Ridley got suspended and all that, Connor Hughes came back out and said the Jets would have traded for him, because he could say whatever he wants now because nothing's happening. He can do anything he wants. He has freedom now to say whatever, and he is hedging his bet. He's just doubling down, as we say. Now, maybe Joe Douglas makes a trade, but I think Connor Hughes is just saying it because he said it. You know, Joe Douglas talked far too much. Yeah, Joe Douglas it's called smokescreen. That's what he's doing. But that doesn't preclude. I'd be excited to see a trade, but I don't know if it's coming. Who do we trade for, Jeremy? Who do you think, if we did make a trade, who's coming? Number one guy.
I think. Well, I'm thinking if we made a trade for somebody, it would be for a wide receiver. Would be my guess. I don't expect trades. Trades are impossible to predict. I think it's very generic and broad. I think it's like you said, these guys are just trying to look smart. They throw these darts. If they're wrong, they're never held accountable for it anyway. If they're right, they never let you hear the end of it, because they know what we know, which is nothing. We've learned that about JD. They have no idea. They're just guessing like we would guess. I don't think there's going to be a trade, but if we did some kind of big trade, I guess I would expect it to be either a wide receiver, possibly edge. I know a lot of guys are saying Hunter, but I don't think so. I don't think so. I think there's a lot of red flags there. So I guess it would be a wide receiver, but I and I haven't even thought about who, because I don't really think about trades. I think about, because they're so unpredictable and so out there. I just think about free agency. Who are the guys we want to sign? Who are we looking for in the drafts? And if a trade happens, it happens.
Yeah, I think everybody wants, what do they want you to say, Jeremy? This is what they're fishing for. They want you to say DK Metcalf. That's what they want, Jeremy.
Yeah.
They're like, say DK Metcalf. Put it into the ether. Put it out there, man.
But here's
what do you
the
think,
thing
Frankie?
here's the thing about the obvious holes in the roster are wide receiver, defensive line, linebacker right now.
Right.
Maybe you could say safety. But the thing about DK Metcalf is what are the Seahawks doing? Are they doing a rebuild? Because if they're doing a rebuild, you're really going to do a rebuild with Pete Carroll and his 90-year-old butt running around chomping gum all day long? I mean,
I think he's got the energy for it.
To do a full rebuild with Drew Lock at quarterback, really?
He's only 77.
I don't think they're going to do a rebuild. And if they're not going to do a rebuild, then who the heck is their quarterback? I mean, then they need to get somebody. You're not going to put Drew Lock or Geno Smith out there, not on purpose. You're not. So
they got the 9th overall pick, Frankie.
And maybe, yeah, but if you're going to take a Malik, who are you going to take with that? Malik Willis? That guy's going to take
Malik Willis. Malik Willis is going at 2, so he won't be there. Yeah.
Let's have everybody fall.
Let those pass rushers fall.
Right.
That's the way.
Yeah.
So, all right, real quick, I want to show you guys something. I was right. It's megabytes per second. So this is what I'm looking at. Dude, look at I want to tell you guys what I'm usually dealing with. Okay. I'm usually dealing with the download doesn't really matter for live streaming, but I'm usually dealing with 30s, and my upload, my magic number is 6. If I have under 6, I cannot do a live stream. 6 to 10, it's a little spotty, but if it's over 10, I feel really good. I have 91. So I have to stay online all night. I just have to. You know what I mean? Oh shit, don't do it. Okay, I almost closed out the wrong window. Almost closed out this instead. So there you go. All right, so Jeremy, thank you, JB Jets. I don't know. I don't know if we're making a trade. That's interesting that Connor Hughes said that. Again, he is hedging his bet, as you said. I wouldn't be blown away. We did trade Blake Cashman, but I think no matter what the trade is, it's going to be in our favor. We're going to get him excellent value. Joe Douglas doesn't do it unless he wins, and I like that about him. So let's get into Jeremy wants to give you guys something. So what do you got this time around, Jeremy?
I got 2 things for, like for one person, but like just in case they don't like one more than the other. One is just 1989 unopened pack.
Ooh, yeah, another one.
Football cards. There's a lot of good stuff, man. Barry Sanders, Deion Sanders, Michael Irvin. There's like Joe Namath, and
Joe Namath's not in that draft class.
Lots of juicy cards, lots of juicy cards. And then I got a Lando Calrissian in case you like Star Wars. And the only caveat is subscribe to my channel. I put the link in the chat. You don't have to watch my stuff. If you hate me, you hate me. If you like it, you like it. There's a certain percentage that'll like it and stay. That's, so it's good for me. If you don't, just stay subscribed, hit your notification bell. You could win stuff. I don't care. I don't fix this. Anybody could win, even if you never come in and you never watch a video. Of course, you might have to come in to win something. So the link is in the chat. Just subscribe. And then that's the only thing I'm asking. And, I'm happy to
give something away, Jeremy. Yeah. Give it away, buddy. Let's do it.
Okay.
How do you want to do it?
What do you want from me?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, why don't we have, hey, Frankie, you got any pen and paper?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to write?
Frankie looks like he would have pen and paper around, doesn't he? Me, you're like, yeah, pen and paper. I'm like, what? I don't know where.
Got my spreadsheet right here, guys.
Well, everybody trust Frankie. I don't want to get accused of anything. So, Frankie, can you write down a number from 1 to 100?
All right, done.
Now show us. Just kidding.
Okay. Now, I don't know what that number is. So we're right here doing this. If everyone, the only rule I have with guessing is you can keep guessing, but you have to have 2 people in between each guess. So you can't just start typing numbers out, because if it's consecutive, you're disqualified. So just wait until at least 2 other people have guessed. Keep guessing until we get the number. Just give Frankie a chance to look at the chat so he can follow it. Only he knows the number, and he'll call out the winner.
Right.
Good?
So a couple of things. One is, again, go to NFL Chaos with Jeremy. Give our boy a sub. And again, he does a couple really good shows, man. He's like seemingly always on doing something. But in particular, Wednesday with Wat2K here, they do a great show. And then on Sundays, he does a show with Dom C, who is starting to get the appreciation that man deserves. He knows his stuff. He's a true draft nerd. And he does great stuff. And he does a show with Jeremy on that channel on Sundays as well. It's worth the watch. At least giving it a shot. Go over there. The link is in the description under the comment labeled NFL Chaos with Jeremy. You can see the link. But go ahead and vote 1 to 100. Now, Jeremy, while they're voting, Brandon McNeely brings up something really interesting. And I'm curious, do you have any garbage pail kids to give away? That would be fantastic.
I don't know. I'll let you know.
Good. There's a chance.
I am not joking around. I doubt it, but it's not impossible. I have, my wife is saying, just give the stuff away already, because it's taking
right. Get it out of the house.
So there's a lot of basketball cards. So for anybody who likes basketball, we're going to start giving those out, and maybe by packs, box, who knows? For really big moments, we're going to give away big things. I might give entire sets of baseball cards away.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Jeremy has a golden egg that he wants to give away. It is 24 karat gold.
Oh, yeah.
And that's for 500 subscribers on his channel. He's giving you a golden egg. What do you think? Cheeseball Man doesn't believe we're real. So he says, say hi to me if you are real. And now, generally speaking, I wouldn't even acknowledge such a thing. But you know what? I like the name, Cheeseball Man. So I'm going to say, hello, Cheeseball Man. We are, in fact, real. I hope that makes your night.
Nobody.
Have a winner?
Nobody's guessed yet?
What's wrong with you people?
Did you
Nobody got it.
Or not like a decimal?
Drippy Douglas got it. 100. No, isn't that the number? No.
It's
a follower of Christ. FOC didn't get it. 81.
Right,
didn't Park 74.
We're gonna have to give a hint. It starts with a 7.
Holy shit. See how long it takes from.
Yeah. I hope. Who's scanning? I'm not. I'm over here talking to Cheeseball Man. I don't know what the hell's going on.
I feel bad that I did this to Frankie, because I can't even see it. It's going so fast.
FOC said 7.
So
7's wrong. 77's wrong.
Slim God said 74.
74 is wrong.
78, 76, 70, 70, 77, 74, 72,
Wing Chu
73.
said 45. Is that accurate?
No. 7, 70. Come on, man.
Okay,
I'm giving it away.
From 70 to
What's wrong with you
79 now.
people? 75 is wrong. 76 is wrong. 71 is wrong. 76, 75, 77. Why can't anybody guess this?
Somebody had to.
What is wrong
72.
with you?
Come on, guys.
74, right?
There it is. Wait. 78. Kevin at 10:05 p.m.
I gotta go up here. I gotta. Yeah. Nobody else
78.
said 78 until just now. Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm going to do a quick scan to make sure. Bino
Frankie,
said 78. Wait a minute. Bino at 10:05 said
Soldier
78.
said
They
it?
said it at the same time. I saw Kevin's first. I don't know.
Wait,
Bino.
Brandon McNeely said it at 7. Wait, a Slim. They all said 78. Who said it
Wow.
first?
I think Kevin got it. That's the first one I saw.
Let me, Kevin. Let me see. Hold on.
I'm looking too.
I think Bino has it.
I saw Dark Soldier say it.
No, it's Kevin. Kevin's before
Kevin?
Bino.
All right.
It's Kevin.
Dark Soldier's way up there. Wait, let me see. Wait,
Yeah, I saw Dark Soldier, but
wait. Where's Kevin? Let me see.
No, it's Kevin. It's Kevin.
It's Kevin. Okay, Kevin.
Right.
What's Kevin's last? It's just straight. Oh, just Kevin. There he is. Yeah, Kevin.
It's Kevin.
All right, Kevin. Go ahead, Jeremy. Tell him how to get his collection of 1989 unopened cards.
So you can either email me at jcravat@gmail.com, putting it in the chat, or you could look me up at Jeremy Cravat 2, or Jeremy Cravat on Instagram, at Jeremy Cravat 2 on Twitter, or jcravat@gmail.com. It's in the chat. I just put it in, jcravat@gmail.com. Just reach out to me with an email and your address and everything, and I'll send off your new Lando Calrissian in the box action figure and pack of cards.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations,
There you
man.
go.
You didn't even know you wanted. You got them now.
That's right. You know, that's usually the best kind of stuff. The things you didn't know you wanted and you got them many, those tend to be sweeter, in my opinion.
Like
The
a
stuff that you
6th-round
think you
pick for
want.
Blake Cashman.
Exactly. What a fantastic example, Frankie. I like that.
Yeah.
Like a 6th round pick for Blake Cashman. So this has been fun, man. So wait, hold on a second. I just want to. I'm going to come back in a half an hour. I'm going to do a whole different stream. I'm doing it.
GreenBean, our friend Phil Adams, who's in a whole different country. Phil Adams is. He's responsible for this flag you see behind me, and also the flag you see behind Jeremy. He's asking about a draft party. Any thoughts about that?
Party?
GreenBean? Yeah, like a
Well-
live stream for the draft.
Well, I go over to, we do this will be the 3rd straight year that I'm over at Jets Talk 24/7, Ryan's channel with Ryan and O'Leary. And we spend the entire draft online, Phil. I don't know if Frankie, we could invite you guys, and you guys are more than welcome to come and at least spend some time. But as far as what I do, that's where I'll be. I'll be over at Jets Talk 24/7 for the entire draft. Now, a physical draft party, Sack Exchange is having an actual draft party in Brooklyn at a place all you can eat, all that stuff for the whole first round. So I think there might even still be a couple tickets left. If you want, on Twitter, go ahead and reach out to Sack Exchange, BKLYN929, and check into that. I doubt Phil's looking for that one, being, like Frankie said, over there in the UK, flying over to Brooklyn for a little hang. But anyway, yeah, that's, so I'm over at Jets Talk 24/7. As we get closer, I'll be telling you guys all about that. We've done that the last couple of years. It's a great time, man. We get literally thousands. We had 2,000 or 3,000 people there last year. It was amazing. And we'll be doing that again this year. And I'll talk to you guys about it afterwards, and we'll get you some links and all that shit if you guys want to come by. But maybe you guys are doing something too. I don't know. We'll let you guys know as we get closer. Maybe Frankie's doing something, Y2K, Jeremy, Dom C, all those guys. But we'll see. But I think that's about it, guys. I think we're going to do it. I just put up in StreamYard on YouTube. I'm going to come back in 30 minutes. I'm going to go get myself a bathroom break, get myself a new hat so I can take it off later for you guys. And we'll come back and we'll talk into the wee hours because I'm in Oklahoma City and I ain't got shit else to do. So, Jeremy, what do you got? What do you got? Tell these guys what the next big thing is for Jeremy.
The next big thing.
Yeah.
Well, so, the two major shows that are consistent are, Sunday night with Dom C. We do not just a draft, but a draft duel, and we do off-season moves considered. Now we're going to be working on draft with free agency considered, obviously. After that, that's getting run down. We're gonna come up with a different show, but Dom C is going to be on the channel. He's going to be a regular. He's amazing. What a great find by you, GreenBean.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. So and so this way it gives him that space to be on consistently and for everybody to enjoy him. And then Adam is on every Wednesday on Wacky Wednesday, co-host. So we get him on consistently. So those are the two key things. Sunday nights, Wednesday nights, NFL Chaos with Jeremy. And then, like you said, I'm a little bit of a lunatic. I'm on all the time doing other stuff too. So
yeah. And don't forget, so Y2K's show is the Wacky Wednesday show. And for some reason they call him Adam over there. I don't know what that is. I don't know. It's not my deal. I don't know. I want you to know, though. I said, hey, what do you want me to call you? He said, Y2K is fine. And now he's
There's
fucking
so many
Adam.
Adams,
Yeah.
Y2K99, it's distinctive. So that's kind of why.
That's right. I love it, man. My wife even said to me, that sounds cool. I'm like, it does, right? She's like, yeah. Like we were editing your articles and everything. But so Y2K releases articles on I didn't even think I released your last one. I got to release that tomorrow. Y2K has amazing articles on greenbeanjetsfan.com. And again, does the show with Jeremy on Wednesday. And he's also the president of the Virginia Jets fan club. Don't forget that. But Frankie, what else you got going on? Anything big?
Yeah, I'm going to do a live stream on Saturday. I've been I haven't been doing too many live streams, but we're going to do one on Saturday just to catch up with all of the signings. It's kind of hard to do. Let's wrap up the free agency, and then you put out a video, and 72 other guys got signed, and it's like,
it's hard. That's the truth.
So I'm going to do a live stream on Saturday. So if people want to hang out, coffee with Frankie, it's about 11 o'clock on Saturday, and we'll just talk about all the signings and everything going on. And then I'll probably put something out. A very popular video I did recently was talking about someone I'm calling the cyborg, Cynthia Freeland. And reviewing her mock draft.
Interesting.
Yeah,
wow.
I'm trying to get her to respond to me on Twitter. She won't respond to me. But yeah, I think she might be a cyborg. She's an excellent analyst. So she puts out her mock draft, and it's different than anybody else's mock draft. It's very fascinating. So when she puts out a 2.0, I'll probably do another one of those. So fun things like that at the old Frankie from Flatbush channel. Come by, say hello, subscribe. All the things that Jeremy said for his channel, I'll say for my channel.
Yeah, I like that.
It's less wacky than Jeremy's.
Yeah, well, right. Well, now I'm curious to find out. Frankie, when you figure out if she's a cyborg or not, we must know. We need
all more cyborgs just like that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could use a few.
So, guys, I want to thank everybody in the chat. It's been a fun night. It always goes by so fast for me, and I appreciate that. I am going to come back in a half hour to hang out with you guys and just kind of answer chat questions and all that kind of shit. But thank you to Frankie, Jeremy, and Y2K. This was a good one, and thanks to everybody in the chat. We will see you. I'll see you in a few minutes. All right. Hopefully you come around. But that being said, have a great night, everybody.
I want to kiss you.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah! You want to run or you want to duck down? You want to duck, just go over and get onto the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.